Welcome back to the Fanspeak Network. This is another episode of Talking Ball with Steveospeak. We're going to be doing some marathon drafts tonight, probably some other drafts as well. I'll let some people filter in before we get into any drafts. But just wanted to thank everyone for joining me. And of course, don't forget to hit the like button in here because I want to keep drafting and keep having fun tonight. So we will get into some drafts in a minute. Underdog, as was expected, released some more things this week. The first thing they released was the mini best ball. We'll talk about that in a second, and might even do one or two later. And then the other thing was a marathon promo. That's why we're going to try and do a couple marathon drafts tonight. Seems like a good time. Probably the lobby's filling a little bit more. So let me bring over the marathon. There's catching up on some slows. I have plenty more to go, but enough to at least get through this stream. So let's bring over first the marathon. Well, actually, it's called the Pick 6 NFL Mini Best Ball. 6-person drafts. I've not drafted one yet, but I have spent a little bit of time thinking about it. It is a 1 of 6, since you're only competing against 6 people, and a 1 of 5, 225 seed final. Top prize is $25K. And if you make it to the finals, you get $75. So, depending on how many entries you do, it could be pretty solid profit. The real difference here is because on first glance, it looks like another Badge Bros Brawl, right? 6-person drafts, that kind of thing. But what it is it's a lot like a battle royale with some bench spots. There's 1 quarterback, 1 flex, 2 wide receiver tight ends, 2 running backs, and 4 bench spots. So, I think that makes things very interesting. Obviously, only a handful of tight ends are going to be viable here, particularly Bowers, McBride, Kittle. I think you can make a case for a few others, but not many tight ends. But just with only needing 2 receivers at max 3, we're talking, and only 6 players in the draft, like a much greater pool. So it's kind of a combo of the Badge Bros Brawl and then the rookie sophomore that had wide receiver tight end as the same position as well. So a little bit of balance between those two. I still think ideally if you can get a really good third back, which you should be able to do, winning the flex that way is probably your best option. But we will talk about that more in a little bit. Let's go over to the marathon. So that is definitely felt a little better today. It is 40% filled now. So I'm sure coming in today, I think it was only like 37%. So getting 3% is pretty good for it. And that was released at like 1. So let me hit up a chat before we get into a marathon and talk about it a little bit more. We got a guy Losimo in here saying, "What's up? How's it going, Losimo? Hope you're enjoying the drafts." Tim saying, "I thought B-Rob was a good, decent running back. I wonder why Washington wants to trade him." Yeah, I mean, that looks like it's going to be the case. I just saw a report like Washington would pay down some of his contract. Not that it's that expensive. But I think he's in the last year of his contract. This coaching staff, this GM, they didn't draft him. They saw last year that Jeremy McNichols and even Chris Rodriguez did fine without him in the games that he missed. So, it looks like it's going to be Chris Rodriguez and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I also think Eckler gets a boost. And for them, they probably feel like, hey, if we even get a 6-rounder from him or like swap B-Rob in a 7th for a 5th or something like that, it might be worth it because clearly they want to keep Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. And they also like Jeremy McNichols. So they probably want to keep those 4 backs, Chris Rodriguez, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, McNichols, and Eckler. Eckler, I think, has the most secure role, but I also don't think he's going to be the Eckler we saw a couple of years ago with the Chargers. Mike Robb saying, "Already back at it. You're a beast." I was on with Who Hames earlier. I did a little over 3 hours on Who Hames' channel, and then the last hour, about an hour, I had to do on my own because his internet went down. So we went through every preseason game. I'll be talking about that some through drafts tonight as well. But it was a lot of fun. Always good talking ball. Hartman in here saying GM. Good seeing you, Hartman. Hope drafts are treating you well. We got our guy Justin Bruni in here saying summer Steve. Appreciate that. Bruni will of course be on Jeopardy tomorrow night. It is, I believe, yes, it's Candyman and Schneid off the Schneid. Cody tomorrow night. I believe Andrew and I are going to be on first, and then they'll lead into Jeopardy. Mike Robb, always good to hear you break down a tournament. Appreciate that, Mike. Did you see the marathon promo? Yes, Hartman. We're going to get into that in one. Let's talk about the promo. But yeah, that's why we're going to be looking to draft marathons tonight, because the promo is nice. And I actually checked with Underdog because I, of course, entered 2 slows at like 1:15 in the morning, this morning. And those do count towards the promo. So if you entered any slows or fast, as long as it is past midnight for you, I messaged with Brett, and he said those do count. So that's good to know. I also entered 1 slow during the day today. So let me bring up what the promo is. Let me go to Underdog Drafts. And before I share the screen. So let me give me 1 second. And yeah, here we go. So this is the promo, marathon promo. Enter 5 teams today, 8/19 through tomorrow, 8/20, and get 15 bonus cash redeemable 2 times. Both fast and slow are eligible. Funds will be paid out on Saturday, 8/23. No opt-in required. So takes a couple days for it to pay out. That may be the only downside I'd say of this, but essentially you do it. So you could enter 10 teams, you get that would be $150. You get $30 back. You can look at it. You get 12 marathons for the price of 10. You could look at it, these 10 marathons, or 5, if you're only going to do 5, you're getting for essentially $12 a piece instead of $15. Either way, it's better than the rake. So, it's definitely a positive there. I know not everyone's a fan of the marathon. I personally think most people should be, whether or not it overlays or not. It's a good ROI contest, and I think it rewards good drafting. Meg and I have talked about it a lot. She wrote an article about it. We've done shows on it. We have a standalone show on the channel talking about marathon strategy. She's been writing a lot of articles on it. She did only 6 teams last year and finished, I think, 138th in one of those and got $700. So big ROI. And that contest was, let's just go over the marathon for a second before we get in one. It's a $15 entry, 75,000 entries. Top prize is is it 100K? Yeah, 100K. And the way it works is there's no playoffs. Weeks 1 through 17 all count the same. You're drafting a team for the entire time period, and that's what you're basing off of. So when we enter a draft of 12 people, not just 2 of us can actually cash in this, but you could have a draft with 4 teams, 5 teams, particularly if there is overlay. But even if there's not, it is very possible to have 3 or 4 teams, even more, hit the cash line. And the other interesting thing about the cash line, and I've talked about it before in a few shows, is if you do the math. So in a typical draft, roughly 16.7% of entries, 2 of 12, go to playoffs. So you get your money. You get your money back essentially. Here, it's 16% cash, 12,000 out of 75,000, but you actually double your money just for quote unquote min cash. And then it, rises slightly. You have to be above top 1,000 to get above $50 and, be in the top 700 for 100 and et cetera. But it does get up there. And notable about Meg's team last year, well, it didn't fill. It was the tournament was double the size, it didn't totally fill, but it was over 130,000 entries, like 134,000, somewhere in that ballpark. And she finished 138th. And as she's broken down her lineup in shows and in her article, it was not a perfect lineup. I think people assume you need a perfect lineup for these kind of things, and you really don't. She had 5 duds on her team. And sure, it's one of those things like, had it been 3 duds, had it been 2 duds, maybe she's looking at a top 10, maybe a top 20. Of course, but my point is it's a good ROI contest, and you don't have to be perfect. I do think you have to build properly, as we talked about on shows before and in articles. You really want to be balanced. You want to you want to have big wins. If you are drafting an RB, RB 15, they need to be better than that or better. You can't draft the RB 15 and he finishes his RB 25. Like, that's just not going to work out for you. Like, that might work out in a BBM, if they spike at the right time or something like that. And also, like, big extended absences are gonna impact you more. But even a couple minor injuries aren't going to totally wreck you. Let me hit up chat and then we'll get in the first one. Let me get back to let me get back to Underdog, since I've been showing my Twitter screen. And give me 1 second. So yeah, I brought up this, and where I showed how the payout structure works and all that. So let me hit up a chat real quick. And we got our guy Thad in here. RBs are king. Absolutely. And they definitely are in the marathon. Tim saying great breakdown. Thank you. Appreciate that. We got Justin in here. McNichols is a fantasy nightmare. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have too much of a role. Steve, what up? Good seeing you binking. You were on with Huham show earlier. Good seeing you coming over here. Joining us. Appreciate that. We got my sister checking in. Hey, brother, she definitely does love the marathon. As I said, she did quite well on it last year. For Stevie Wonder. So is Huham's officially off the grid? I don't know. I have not talked to him since the stream. I don't know if he's gotten his internet back. Or is the government caught up with my exposures? As your pro bono attorney, I've started up papers to get you 5% of Huham's empire, including any future beard endorsements or barbecue items. Appreciate you, Mike. Hartman, buy 4, get 1 free. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. Fortunately, I specifically avoid any contests that reward good drafting more. That would be a problem. Government uses my exposures to connect the analysis of how I win so much consistently. There you go, banking. Love it. Marathon sprint weekly winners are for ball knowers like me. Love it. Love it, Dad. All right, we are going to jump into a marathon in 1 second. I will count it down. These are seemingly feeling a little better today. So let me count it down. I'm going to count it down from 10 seconds, and I will be entering the first marathon in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. And we are waiting on 6. So hopefully this will fill. I believe I did bring over my marathon exposures. I have, let's see, I think I've completed like 40 some marathons so far. So as you can see, I only have 1 Jamar Chase. I'd love a 101. That being said, I have about 20 some slow going right now. So I've just been entering because I don't think I'm going to max the marathon, but I want to get probably over 100, just because I do like the format, and it's a real chance it could overlay. And this contest of any, you have the greatest advantage if it overlays. Of course, any contest that overlays, you get a better chance of getting into the money. But with this, not only are you competing for the best score let's say only 70,000 people enter. Now, not only are more people hitting the money, it's a better percent hitting the money. And like I said, you're doubling your money just by having an entry that hits the money. But now you only need to compete for the best score out of 70,000 versus 75,000. So it's like a two-way street of any overlay in this contest. So still waiting on 6. I'm going to put it out on Twitter. Just give me 1 second. And I will get back to chat in 1 second. But yeah, I'm definitely a fan of this contest. Let's see, we got Peanut Punch in here. Join your stream. Hard for fast drafters get in a lot of sprints and marathons. Yeah, that's why I have so many slows going right now. Just because I knew, and luckily, like I said, if you missed it, Peanut Punch me saying earlier, for the promo, and it sounds like you're not really a slow drafter guy, but any like slows or fasts you did overnight, like I entered 2 at 1:15 in the morning, and those both count. So that's a positive. So if you did any fasts like during the middle of the night, I think Meg told me, I talked to her earlier, she did one in the middle of the night. So that will count. Did you max the palm? Yes, I did. After game stream, I had 3 more to go. The majority are slow, but I just did 3 fast ones after Huham stream. Thinking, where's Huham's at? Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, I've not heard from him. He says internet went down and like went down the whole area. So hopefully he gets it going again soon. We got Kelly in here saying I am here. That's good to see you, Kelly. Hope you're doing well. We are drafting a marathon. If you want to jump in, we're still waiting on one person. Meg saying she did put on Twitter and Pat's Discord as well. Yeah, that's always a benefit. Yeah, LMG got like, I'm still going at it. Yeah. So I was on Huham's earlier for over 3 hours. And I plan on doing at least a couple hours here. So this one filled, didn't get the 101 spot. But I am in the 4 spot. I see, let's see, I see Peanut Punch in 11. I see Lo Simone 12. I feel like I know SSSSS. So if anyone else is in here, feel free to say hi. But yeah, and my hope is to, after this, do another marathon. And I'll probably enter some slow because I am going to do all 10 to get the max benefit. And right now I've done 3, so I need to get 7 more done. Why are you in drafts at 1 a.m.? I'm always in drafts, Mike. I don't sleep, so yeah, I was up till 2 something catching up on slows and ripping drafts. Yeah, hopefully James is all right. Thinking when you're down, I'd be sleeping. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, that was long. I mean, I enjoy long streams, so I don't mind it too much. So I'm up. I have more Gibbs than Lamb, so let me just take Lamb here. I do think running back is obviously a little better. They project more for more total points, but Lamb has the outcome we saw 2 years ago. He can be wide receiver 1, and in which case he probably will get more points than like Gibbs. Let me bring up the board. Yeah, I noticed. I think I did my first pick in that one, Hartman. I was like, oh shit, I see Hartman right there. So yeah, I am entering slows all the time. All right. So the first round, and this is where you do see like Henry come up, which again makes sense. Last year, Henry dusted any receiver not named Jamar Chase. So it makes sense that he goes in the first round in this because total points matter. Of course, you can balance spike weeks. But I do think you want some guys to have good, strong floors. Like I said, Meg last year had the 5 zeros, and even you look at some of the top teams, they had some, not everyone, but some had some pretty, some bad, guys who just totally failed or got injured or whatever the case may be. So I think the more you can limit that, of course, you need some ceiling in this, but you also want some floor plays. Guy who's going to consistently score 10 plus points is a lot of value. All right, I'm coming up. Chase Brown, Bucky. I am pretty flat, roughly the same on. So I'm happy to take either one, especially starting a receiver. We'll go Bucky. I do think elite quarterback's pretty strong in this. Meg and I, we did some research into this, and of the top 100 teams last year, and also with elite having 3 or more quarterbacks, of the top 100 teams last year in the marathon, I believe it was, I want to say it was 56 to 44 had 3 or more quarterbacks. 2 of them had 4 quarterbacks. So, I think that shows you, having at least 3 quarterbacks does add a lot of value. Sure, you could have had that perfect Lamar and Jaden team, or Lamar and Burrow, and I guess Lamar and Jaden, I think they had the same buy, so probably not them, but I will go Lamar here. As you can see, I do, big on the elite quarterback, but even still, I will pretty much every one of my marathon teams are probably going to have 3 quarterbacks for that reason, because I think that does help raise your ceiling and it improves your floor. I think even, and it's 2 points here, 5 points there. Those matter. Like the bands in success become very small. You could, it's 17 weeks, and it's one of those things where if you average half a point, you could jump up a tier in money. If you average 1.5 points, you could go from 150th to 25th, really totally change. So those kind of differences, and I say average, but it could happen in 1 week. If there's a week where Lamar has 20 points and you take Geno Smith and he's got 29 points, that's a massive swing. So that averaging 1.5 points, 2 points can come in just 1 or 2 weeks, really. Yeah, Henry faders were wrong once again, yet they persist. And hello to you, Pepper Tony. Yeah, no, I'm very bullish on Henry in all formats this year. I think the Ravens are one of the top offenses in the league, and I want one of the best running backs, of our generation. After I make these picks, I will get back to the board and chat. I wouldn't probably go double elite, had Hurts come back. I don't know if I'd go there. It's intriguing, but probably not my top priority. As you can see, I have quite a bit of Kamara here. Very bullish on him. I'm going to go Kenneth Walker. I only have 1 share so far. Again, I might have him in a slower 2. But the Seattle rushing offense looks incredible. So I want to keep buying that. His injuries do worry me some, but by and large, I think there's a lot of fantasy points coming from that Seattle running game. hopefully it's Kenneth Walker, could be Zach Charbonnet. I want to start getting in on both of them. So let me make this pick, and then I will get back to the board and chat. Coming up here, there's a few receivers I'd take a shot on, a couple running backs. Might get Kamara back. I honestly don't know if I love Hubbard, even at this price. Might pull up James Conner. Kamara is obviously tempting me. I think I will take Conner. Kamara is tough because he does have that ceiling. He does have that spike week potential. He finished 6 in points per game last year, 10th in total points despite missing 3.5 games. So let's get to the board. Here, and I will get back to chat. Huheim's checking in. His internet finally came back on. Hopefully you got the chance to end the stream because I had to just leave the show and the stream was still going on. But hope you're doing well, Huheim's. It was a fun show. We got to talk a lot of stuff. Fortunately, some of the key guys we didn't get to talk about, but Huheim's was able to chat in some. I used to fade Henry, then I remember he's the king. Yep, that is true. As a Ravens fan, I'm glad to hear you say Lamar is one of the top running backs of his generation. Well, he's pretty damn good also, but no, Henry is insane. It auto-ended like 20 minutes later. Nice. All right, so we got Peanut Punch and Losimo coming up on the clock here. Peanut Punch went running back, Daniels, Evans, Losimo, receiver, Kittle, Hendo. Peanut grabs Waddle, and Swift goes to Losimo. So the other thing in here is, of course, like every game matters. So while team correlation matters a lot, you can also, if you want to stack like some divisions up, because it's like, and I'm just using this off the ballpark because I don't know who all plays week 18. Those are all typically division games, but if you stack up like 3 division teams and they all play each other like twice, that you're just getting more natural correlation that way. But trying to stack for a singular game or two, I don't think, unlike Sprint where you could stack for all the playoff weeks, or of course, same for BBM with 17 being the most important. Like here, every game matters. So it is one of those things where you get those ultimates. Like we talked about this yesterday. People don't realize like Jamar Chase was not good in the playoffs last year, but he was still great in this format because he absolutely dusted every receiver in total points and points per game. So you absolutely got the benefit of every one of his like 35, 40-point games, even though in the playoff weeks he finishes like wide receiver 10, 12, whatever it was. I think it was 12. So I'm going to go Diggs here. I think even though I have a lot of them, I think he's a clear starter. I need a receiver. And yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of Diggs. And in this format, even if he starts a little slow, that's always a slight concern. But I think he's a wide receiver 1. I think he's going to have more than enough big time weeks to pay off. And so, yeah, the other benefit of Marathon is, you can, by having every spike week, like sure, like advancement spike weeks are a thing, like Jaden Reed having like a couple like 25, 30-point games. But as long as you have balance, then you can cover his 5-point games, 7-point games. So as much as I talked about earlier about floor, you do want some guys who are going to spike. So ideally you have a balanced like receiver and running back room that have like some security guys and then like guys who can just put up these ridiculous 30-point games. And I think that's true, particularly both running back and receiver. All right, so here, Caleb comes back. He's obviously fallen. I have a fair share of him. I'm going to go Debo. Like, Debo's look good. I think we saw last night he had a nice run for Washington, and it's gained a piece of an elite offense. So that's kind of the other thing I would point to is targeting guys on top tier offenses or offenses we project well. Obviously, that's Baltimore, Tampa, Washington, Dallas. I think with Dak, Dallas, particularly the passing game, can be top tier. I do think New England makes the jump, maybe not top tier, but at least top half. And Seattle, I think, is going to be a top rushing offense. And James Conner has just been such a good points per game, points per touch guy over the last 4 or 5 years. So coming back up to the turn here, Peanut Punch and Losmo getting Pollard and Pacheco. Those are two guys I really like. Obviously, they're getting pulled up some now. Both look like workhorse running backs. So really good for this format. And one thing, I would only do this more in a 6 running back build. So probably if you're doing an elite tight end and could stop at 2 there. But handcuffing in this format, if particularly if it's just 2 guys and you kind of like the usage that it's going to be, can be a little bit more beneficial because take, for instance, Pollard and Spears last year. Tennessee offense was terrible. The offensive line wasn't great, but Pollard had a lot of good weeks and was well worth his price. And Spears, it was a bit of an expensive price for him, but the games where Pollard missed, Spears hit pretty well. So you would have balanced it pretty nicely. Same with obviously nobody hit during the 3 games Jonathan Taylor missed, but Jonathan Taylor was amazing from a points per game standpoint. But those 3 games, those were zeros. If you had taken, this year, if you take DJ Giddens in the 17th, 18th, and he actually has some good usable weeks then, it could really pay off. So I only kind of do it in 6 RB builds, but I think there's maybe a little bit more value here because, again, every week is mattering, whether they miss a game early or miss a game late. It all can have value. One of the things about some of these 0 RB situations is, let me make these picks and I'll get back to it. I will go Mark Andrews. Yeah. I obviously have a lot, but I have Lamar. It just makes too much sense. But the Taj Spears drafters talk about how, he was a good pick last year because he advanced them in the playoffs. There's no question, but he didn't advance them to the playoffs. So had those games come earlier, had Tony Pollard missed weeks 8, 9, and 10, and Spears had those exact same games, maybe a few more Spears teams get to the playoffs, but those teams do nothing in the playoffs. Spears was a dud for basically any game that Pollard actually played. So it could help you more because you would get the full advantage of those points. All right, we are back up in 1. Cooper Kupp. So Baker Mayfield goes. I was actually considering that with the team stack with Bucky. What I am going to do is I'm going to pull up Drake May. I have Diggs. I just think Lamar and May is a really strong build. I still will probably add a 3rd quarterback, but now I can wait till kind of late. It's more now I'm looking for it to be a floor play for me, help fill in for buys. Let me get back into the chat after I get the board up. Um, I didn't get to profess my love for Bat Bryant earlier. Yeah, he looked good. Both him and Troy Franklin looked good, though. It was notable neither of them were resting with Sutton, Mims, and even Devon Bailey. I mean, Bailey is the one that's surprising. Fantasy Football Garage saying, GM, hope you're doing well, Candyman. I think you might be going on later tonight. I can't remember. Thought I saw that. But if so, always support Candyman and his channel, Fantasy Football Garage. We got Paulino in here. Sup, Mr. Steve? Anyone on what B-Rob did to the Commanders to get the boot like this? Yeah, honestly, I think it's more like Adam Peters just wants his guys. I mean, we saw it last year. Jahan Dotson got shipped out to the Eagles. Now, they got a decent deal. They got a couple like third-rounders in that trade for Dotson, and they used some of those to trade for other guys. But it is interesting that they're not in on B-Rob. But this is one of the things, like, I remember hearing in February from beat reporters that Commanders were looking for running back upgrades, and that's why I thought they would go for it in the draft. They didn't have many picks and weren't able to acquire anymore, so they didn't take one until the 7th round. And so then I wondered, but even right after the draft, I mentioned, like, this is a team that, I thought maybe they were going to sign Dobbins or Chubb or something like that. Instead, they're just sticking with the guys that they have, including JCM, who they apparently really like, and he's looked good in camp from all accounts. So I don't know. I think it's just they want to invest in their guys, and they'll take anything they can get in return. Excuse me. So I'm coming up. I'm going to take Keon Coleman. Give him one. Sorry about that. It's got to be back at pick 80. I don't know about that high. Sorry. No, we're not going to go it either. No, I think Scadaboo should be moving back up. He goes here 119. I wonder if I can give him to 124. But obviously, I feel good about this. Really good about the start of my running back room. So we'll see what we get back here. Not sure. I might go Mims. Just what we talked about earlier. I do have Lamar, but I don't know if I need the double stack. I think I want access to the Denver offense. Banking saying, up everyone, I'm back. No, Huheem's dealt with major internet issues at the worst possible time on stream. So it is coming back to the turn. I'm at 2-3-5-1. I could go only 2 tight ends. I probably are. It's going to be between 2 and 3 tight ends, and likely with an extra pick. If I get one, I would put it at the running back room, depending on how things pan out. So if you or Meg even have a mini sweat and weekly winners, some weeks will you spin up a stream for it? We'll probably talk about it after the fact. I don't know if we'll jump in Monday night. to do anything. I know Meg did very little weekly winners. I didn't do much either. I did way more weekly winners last year, but just with so many different contests and different things, I know much more focused in marathon. Last year I did like 45 marathons. I think I cashed in 15 of them, so a third of them. Didn't have any big hits, but so this year I think I did like 20 weekly winners, maybe 25. I'd have to double check. I have some slows going. I got in at the end. So banking, I'm sure many different people in chat do different things. But as Hugh Haynes mentioned, we do have our own rankings at Fanspeak on the Fanspeak Substack. It is a one-time payment for $34.99. I'm not sure why the ticker at the bottom isn't working. I need to look into that. Here we go. It is a full 1 year, $34.99 payment. Whether it's you or anyone else would be interested. Not only are we covering best ball, but we're going to be doing in-season content, DFS, Underdog Battle Royale, Pick'ems, sports betting. We're going to have you covered every which way. So both Meg and I do regular rankings and then hit up different contests. Like she does marathon, I did Eliminator and Superflex. All right, I'm on the clock. I am. I'm taking Britain Strange here. I don't think I missed a pick. Thank you. It's kind of a dead zone at wide receiver. There's a few guys, but probably going with one of these two. It's coming up in a few picks. And I think I'm going to go running back here again. I think you want to be pretty safe at running back, just pretty secure. Not sure I'm going up there. I think we're going to pull up Austin Eckler. Maybe he would have gotten back to me, but I do think with the B-Rob news, he's the biggest beneficiary. I honestly do. I mean, sure, Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt, and Chris Rodriguez, maybe one of them really hit, but I do think, and thank you, Hugh Haynes, appreciate it. Excuse me. I think one of Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt, or Chris Rodriguez could be a hit as well. I think Eckler, we know what we're getting in 12 games last year. He had 700 combined yards, 4 touchdowns, 30-some catches. And it wasn't even 12 games. It was more like 11 considering he left 2 games early. So I think he really could spike this week for Washington and be a nice weapon. Steve, does it seem weird to you how much Walker's been steamed up when everything feels like a RB split in Seattle? Maybe, potentially. I do think it's one of those things like another team where, depending on who was in, Walker or Charbonnet were great last year, and they're probably going to run the ball way better this year, or way more this year, with a much better offensive line and scheme this year. I was talking about with Hugh Haynes, they are using a fullback. This Robbie Utes, kid from Alabama, is just awesome. Just absolutely clearing lanes. I think they're going to be in 12 personnel a lot, or 21 with the fullback, or sometimes 22. Sometimes they'll only have one wide receiver on the field. So I think both can get there. I think both just really fit well. The coaches have talked. If Walker wasn't banged up, I think we'd be seeing it more. But it's I want access to both. I'm a little light on both, and I want to catch up. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Hugh Haynes. Live and die by the Fanspeak ranks. Update every 72 hours. We are updating it at least twice a week now. Trying to adjust with things. And yeah. And Paulina, even though I have my rankings, I draft off ADP as well. Like right now, I don't have Meg's latest marathon rankings, and I forgot to download them. Let me make this pick, and then I'll catch up. I will take Adam Thielen. Want some more security at wide receiver. I think he's clearly the slot guy. But, it's one of those things. I might have rankings. Like, for instance, I have like DJ Moore way lower. I have him actually lower than Roman Dunze. It doesn't mean I never draft DJ Moore. I mean, I'm very low on him, but I need him to go past his current ADP. I'm just not going to take him ahead of his ADP. Now, a guy I like, who I'm ahead on, I will take above their ADP because to me, it's still a value. But I generally look at an ADP. Of course, ADPs are very much in flux right now. Like an Austin Eckler, like I have him ranked higher, so that's why I felt good drafting him there. And I also think his ADP is going to be rising. I'm actually going to go Jerome Ford. Don't have much of him in this format. And I think, I don't know how soon Judkins gets on the field. So, I'm not even having to worry about maybe Ford's buried weeks, 14, 15, 16, 17. Doesn't matter to me. I could have gotten like 10 really good Ford weeks before that point. And maybe that's wrong, but it's just, I do think that that's a reality. And the other thing with marathon, a guy like Joe Flacco, like we might think he gets benched second half of the year, but that's still a lot of usable weeks you could be getting from him. Ideally, it would have been better in, say, this build. If Drake May had an early buy, if I had taken, I don't know, Jordan Love or, Michael Penix or somebody like that. But guys like Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, if we know they're on the field, they're adding value to our lineup. And we don't have to worry about them not being out there late in the year. It's another thing. I saw like Brandon Ayuk go pick 100. In this, I just don't think he's worth it because every missed game matters the same. Like you can tell yourself in like a BBM. Now Brandon Ayuk goes like 120, but you can tell yourself, I can survive the first 4 to 6 games without Brandon Ayuk. But in this, those are 4 to 6 like real games. Like it's not just about finishing top 2. Like you need every point possible. Same with suspended guys like Addison. I think takes a little hit. Rice definitely takes a hit. We don't know how long the suspension is, but Walker got paid. He's going to get more opportunity. Yeah, I think Walker could have a big year. I mean, I think Sharp could also if given the opportunity. I think both are talented runners, and I agree with this. Possibly the best 1-2 punch in the NFL. Like it, if not number one, it is up there. We're going to go Hopkins. I know he's a little banged up right now. It's the stack. I need another receiver. It's my second week, 7 by at receiver, but overall I'm fine. For this last pick, I think I'm going to go running back or receiver. Maybe I go receiver. At first I thought it would definitely be running back, but I'm open to mixing it up now. There's also some guys I don't have a lot of. I did take a little Kamanan guy, but there's some guys I don't have much of just because it's been like I don't have much Taj Brooks. So that could be an option. And I still want to look at quarterback. That's where I am going to go if this pick comes to me. Because I do think Daniel Jones, like I said, is going to have a lot of early season value at least. maybe at some point he gets replaced. But I think it gives me a nice, good third quarterback. It's not stacked up, but I don't think that's the end of the world. So we'll make one more pick in this, and we'll try and fire up another one. Sharps needs his own team. I agree with you, Hames. He would be fun if somebody would trade for him. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine Charbonnet in Dallas? Like, absolute smash. Where would we be taking Charbonnet? Like, top 60, I think, for sure. Like, top 5 rounds. Brees to Washington is the play, though. I mean, I don't see them doing it. I really don't. We got Hulk Smash Potatoes in here saying, hey, hope you're doing well. And negative for Washington. Just think about all the turmoil and negative vibes around SF for all of them to go away and everything come together. It's a long shot. Brees to Chicago is the real play. Yeah, that would be fun. I don't mean a 50-50 split, but Sharp has proven to be enough value to be on the field, and I could see them managing Walker's workload. No, I would not be surprised if Charbonnet has a little bit more of a role. He's definitely earned it, but I think Walker can just be so good on that in that offense. Feeling more and more we'll see Dart early. I don't know. Dart has looked good in the 2 preseason games. I definitely give him that, but so is Russ, and the coaching staff has been very consistent saying Russ is a starter. I think that's very true. Chicago's running backs. I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Roshan Johnson. They don't even talk to the coaching staff about him, and he's injured. I don't understand what the beat reporters in Chicago are doing. Palm 3 last call. Who I'm saying he got into the last final Pomeranian pod. So that was just released yesterday. That is filled up. It sounds like they're doing 3 more tournaments this week. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe Thursday, they do what they did to the sprint that they did to the marathon today. So I'm up. Monangai is there. Taj Brooks is there. I think I'm going to go Taj. Let's give me a little bit more running back depth. Turpin's a nice, interesting pick. He now looks like a starter. Could be a spike week guy. So I think that's a fun pick. He's nowhere going to be near 100% owned in this contest either. Getting unique in here can help a little bit. I don't think you have to get too crazy. Unfortunately, I have a little bit more. Some of these guys have more Mostert shares than I would expect. But I do a lot of like 6 running back builds in Marathon. So this one finished up. I went 3-6-7-2. Lamar, Drake May, Daniel Jones. So 3 rushing quarterbacks. I kind of balanced like early, middle, late. 3 different buys, obviously. Then Bucky, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, Austin Eckler, Jerome Ford, Taj Brooks. So 3 clear, potentially alpha starters. Eckler and Ford, I think, at least have the passing work. Taj Brooks has looked better and better. He's already knocked out Moss for the number 2 role. I mean, Piran will get some of the passing work, but I think Taj could have a bigger role as the season wears on. Then got Lamb, Steph Diggs, Deebo Samuel, Keon Coleman, Marvin Mims, Adam Thielen, DeAndre Hopkins. So kind of a balance of like some ceiling floor plays. Guys like Coleman and Mims can be big ceiling spike week guys. Thielen might be more floor play, though he had plenty of ceiling last year. And then Hopkins as well. Andrews and Strange just hitting up 2 tight ends, but 2 offenses. I really like, of course, stack. Big part of that. We check out Peanut and Losimo's teams. Peanut went 3-5-8-2. Jaden, Stroud, Dart, Ashton Genty, Achane, Tony Pollard, Trey Benson, DJ Giddens. Then you got Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Khalil Shakir, Cooper Kupp, Jaden Higgins, Deontay Thornton. I mean, that's a real nice pick, especially another guy who wasn't getting drafted all first couple months. Same with Tesla here, Alec Pierce. So he went 8 receivers, kind of like 4, even 5 that he probably feels really confident on, and then 3 like spike week guys late. So and then 2 tight ends, Hawk and Henry. So yeah, I like that build. Running back. Again, kind of like 3 running backs he can totally rely on, and then 2 backups to maybe get some value if any injuries occur. And then we had Losimo in here as well. He goes 3-6-7-2. So same build as I did. Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Aaron Rodgers. So 2 mid quarterbacks and 1 late. Travion Henderson, DeAndre Swift, Isaiah Pacheco, Jordan Mason, Dylan Sampson, Miles Sanders. So, running backs you can really count on. Then some guys in, some split or uncertain backfields like Sampson and Sanders. So it could really pan out. I mean, he could end up with, Jones is probably the quote unquote starter. Mason has a chance to be the highest fantasy scoring point back on that team with touchdowns. And, Losimo has a chance to get 6 of those types of guys. And then Amon-Ra, Puka, Jaden Reed, Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin, Keenan Allen, Jalen Noel. So, probably covering a little for Chris Godwin early, but this receiver room looks pretty good. And if Chris Godwin comes back, I mean, he was wide receiver 2 when he got injured last year. Yeah, 2 tight ends, Kittle and Jonnu. Makes a lot of sense there. So we're going to get in another one pretty quickly. Let me go back. And since it could take a minute, I'm going to enter another marathon now. I'm going to count it down. Probably will have to wait regardless, but I will be entering in 10 seconds. I'll be entering 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enter. All right, so just waiting on 2 people. So let's see. Let's hit up chat. Walker and Sharps combined for over 220 rushing yards alone week 1 versus San Francisco. I don't know about that, but I think it's going to be high. Superflex Palm, that would be fun if that's what they're releasing tomorrow. Give me a Schnauzer 14. Yeah, they did more Schnauzers last year, but they've done different things this year. Binking the Pomeranian drafts on Underdog. My very first BBM, I took Tesla the day it launched. I'm a prophet. Hustradamus, yep. All right. So waiting on one person. Let's get a 101. I'd love to get some more chase in this. I do think I have him in maybe 1 or 2 of my slows, but I don't think you can ever have too much chase. Definitely was a difference maker last year. We have Paul in here. This is a marathon, so doing well, Paul. Hope you're doing well. Legion 13. Yeah, definitely trying to take advantage of this marathon promo. Eddie says mutt and make it a super flex eliminator. That'd be a mutt. A mix of everything. Who Hames in his final palm? I'm getting weird. Puka London 3-4 turn. Travion Walker got to be unique. What, if any, last-minute changes are you looking into as the draft season ends? So for me, it's more like, honestly, you see it somewhat reflective in the rankings. We'll be doing more rankings updates later in the week. And it is just that. Like, I want to balance some exposures. I mean, this right now, my marathon exposures are up. So that's obviously a different thing. But and not just exposures, but also dollar amounts, because there are some guys where I might have like 8%, but my dollar amount versus somebody else at 8% is half, just because I didn't take him in any like big tournaments. So I do want to just, balance. I mean, still be in on the guys I'm in on for sure, but I want to balance some things. I want to make sure I'm getting exposure, particularly when I'm, there are certain teams where tea leaves are pointing in the in one direction. So I want to keep jumping on that. Some of those I was right on, some of those I was wrong on. So I'm happy to correct. And even if that's costing me, like in Buka, I was low on to start. I thought Godwin would be healthy week 1. I thought, and even if he wasn't, like, I thought it was only maybe a week 1, week 2 type thing. And I do worry about Mbuka long term, but I have been chasing him up the board. And of course, now with McMillan out, it's like Mbuka could just smash early on. And even when Godwin comes back, even if he gets regulated to more of a wide receiver 3 role, it's pretty pricey, of course, to pay like a top 60, 65 pick for a wide receiver 3, end of the year when the money's made. But it's something we might have to do because he might be just such the advancement piece. So I will it into existence. I get the 101. We do have Paul in here. We have Losimo back in. We have Legion in. We have Griffalicious. I believe I recognize that name. Anyone else, please let me know. Don't want to leave no mysteries. We will be taking chase. So, I think, just kind of balancing some things out. Unique and win money, donate to the rig. Draft season ends. The best ball draft season. By the way, great growth moving Iron into the top 250. Yeah. So I got about, 3 shares of Iron Manor. Now he's not one I'm going to spend a lot of money on, but I've been out on him. Turpin's another one. I was not taking early, particularly after he got arrested. It was like, oh boy, I mean, he could lose his roster spot if there's anything there. Nothing is. And he's been resting with the starters. So yeah, I've taken him some, not a ton. I'm definitely not going to hit 8% on those types of guys, but I can't ignore the fact that there's at least now a chance that they are directionally solid picks for where they're going. Same with I had a bit of not sure what to do for guys like Ollie Gordon or even Blake Corum. I have way more Jarquez Hunter than Blake Corum, but now I'm taking some Blake Corum. Just he's in the lead for the number 2 role. I think it's more, Williams and I talked about this before, I think it's more contingent value, probably only paying off in games like Kyron misses or gets banged up. But, I want to have a little bit. Yeah, I did manifest that 101. That feels nice. Can't keep getting away with it. Hey, FK, to my defense, I've only had one other 101 in marathon, maybe 1 or 2 in slows, but I've done like 70 marathon drafts, more than that. Like I only have 60 some left, so this might be my 3rd or 4th total. So I'll say in other contests I might be above the field in 101s, but in marathon I'm definitely still even behind the field. I was a huge Godwin bull, but his recovery has me spooked. Yeah, me too, Hulk. I still have a good percentage of him right now. Even with the fall, I'm not really drafting him. I'll take him some if he falls enough, but I just have such a good percentage of him. I don't need to take him right now. Phil Moffa, can you explain, please? Because both you and Meg have him around 250 all off season, yet I've never heard anyone else speak his name. Like he isn't real. Well, it's just somebody has to start for the Cowboys, right? Maybe it's not on the current roster. Maybe they trade for B-Rob. Again, Washington traded with in the division Jahan Dotson last year, but they drafted Jaden Blue in the 5th, Phil Moffa in the 7th. We're seeing another 7th spike. I don't really believe in Phil Moffa, but somebody has to start for the Cowboys. Somebody, one or two running backs are going to be fantasy relevant for them. Maybe it's not on the roster. I don't believe it's Deuce Vaughn. So Phil Maffa is a between the tackles runner. He could just fall into the end zone for some touchdowns if he actually gets carries. So I've not wanted to be like totally out on him, but yeah, I don't also have much real confidence in him. I think he's recovering. He's fine. That specific injury is fine. Yeah. No, I hope Godwin. I hope that's right for Godwin. Exactly. Who aims 100%. Like it's so small, but I can't ignore it. Thinking just the opposite. I know Godwin early on until he started dropping. Since I've been that's definitely the way to play. You're getting the best closing line value on it. All right, I will be up in a couple picks, but I got my guys Lilsimo and Peanut Punch in here ahead of me, so guessing I won't get the guys that I want. Oh boy, that is ugly luck. I'll start. I don't know if I want elite quarterback. Just did last time. I think I'll take Hampton. I'll take Higgins and Hampton. Given the Bengals passing volume, I don't mind taking both receivers. We saw last year, yes, Higgins missed 4 games, 4.5 games, but Higgins was second in points per game. Like this passing offense is the truth. So getting both, I think, is fine, even in a contest like this. There's plenty of weeks where both will have very good numbers. Of course, we want the mega spike weeks that either one can produce, but it's like, and I don't think this is shocking to anyone in here, but if Joe Burrow gets back to me, I'm taking him. I'm not trying to push him to 70. But even if I don't, if somebody steals him, okay, I get the majority of the Bengals passing offense. I'm quite all right with that. Pepperoni, I'm starting to feel. Yeah. I just got Scadaboo 155 in Superflex Drafters. Yeah, and Drafters, Scadaboo is really fallen. I'll be interested to see how quickly he bounces back. I have a Maffa Sharon Bulldog 1 and 2. Called my shot there. Interesting. Yeah, that I don't typically take too much risk in those kind of tournaments just because I want to advance. I want to get it, get as many teams through. But I also get it. I think Who Hames has talked about that. Like he's like some guys that he's more out on. He's taking them in 1 or 2 like high dollar ones. So it's like dollars wise, he spent a fair share on, even though it's like less than 1% that he's actually drafted them. I got Higgins at 6.1 receptions per game. Nice. Yeah, I mean, we know what both of these receivers can do in this offense. Who Hames and I talked about it earlier. Like, sure, Gesicki can be better at tight end, assuming he can get healthy. But their other receivers are Yoshivas, Charlie Jones, maybe Mitchell Tinsley after what he did last night. But I'm just not fearful. I mean, they paid both these guys. They're going to use them. Joe Burrow, that Bengals defense looks so awful. I think Joe Burrow's going to have to throw the ball 700 times this year. So, yeah, having 2 receivers from Cincy, those 2 guys, that's a ton of volume. So up in 8 picks, we'll see what Legion, Losimo, Peanut Punch lead me. Yeah, no, I mean, in something like that, you would be like the only guy to have him, that's for sure. 17.9 fantasy points per game, Higgins. I would love that. No, I mean, yeah, just the upside there. And that's why, like, he is such a tier break at receiver. I did before the Stafford stuff. I kind of considered Devontae Adams in the same boat as him. Obviously, the Stafford stuff has Adams a little riskier, but that's why all those other, this is a different contest, but all those other like third round receivers, Marvin Harrison, JSN, McLaurin, Garrett Wilson, like they just don't have that upside. It's just not there, right? Boy, I don't want to get behind at running back. So I'll take Burrow. I'm going to take RJ Harvey. I don't have as much of him. This is the same buy as Hampton. Don't love that. Two rookies. Don't, you can definitely say it's not the greatest strategy, but I really believe in Denver's offense. I really believe in Sean Payton. Bo Nix, year 2. They were top 10 and they were 10th in scoring last year. They were one of the best offensive lines in the league. They added Harvey and Dobbins at running back. Massive upgrade there. Ingram at tight end. Massive upgrade there. Young receivers, Mims, Vele, Franklin, and of course, Pat Bryant. So just in general, this offense could be absolute fire. And we just see what Harvey can do in his preseason work. He's looked really good. And I think Sean Payton has a plan for him. Let me... So as much as I like some of these receivers who are going off the board now, I'm buying pulling Harvey up just because I don't want to get behind at running back in this kind of contest. Higgins had 19.1 fantasy points per game on DK last year. Garrett Wilson. So that's your projection for Wilson. I think that's a little rich for me. Wilson was 6th or 7th in the league in targets last year, and he had a career high touchdowns with, I believe, 7, and he finishes wide receiver. I'd have to look 16th, something like that. Like his targets are going to go down. His touchdowns, I think, are going to go down. Jets are not going to throw anywhere near what they did a year ago. So that's my concern for Garrett Wilson. Wilson that high, full PPR. I'm guessing it's full PPR. Yeah, I like James Cook a lot. Did you snag any JCM in rookie sophomore? I did not. I don't believe I did. I think I considered it once or twice, but I did. I'd have to double check, but I don't think I did at all. The thing is, in that, yeah, he's going to be so low owned in that. Now, if he ends up being just the absolute smash, particularly in the playoffs, it could hurt you, but I'd be surprised if he was in 5% of drafts, not like 5% of drafts had him. So, yeah, I mean, I just don't know if Garrett Wilson's going to have that many targets this year. Like, he'll lead the Jets, no doubt, and it could be close to 30% target share. I would bet on the under, but just, how many targets is that? Like, what are they going to throw? 400, 450 times? Probably not more than that. Pickens, 231. Or do you have Turpin? 252. DeAndre Swift. Yeah. Well, the tough thing with Swift is he's just not a touchdown guy. So that hurts him and probably splitting the role. Just curious, thinking, like, how many, clearly you're doing projections. How many targets are you projecting for Wilson this year? I am curious. I haven't written out projections. I just kind of have what I have in my head. But I am always curious to, hear what others think. So we'll be up in 2 picks. Definitely some guys I took last time in the mix. And let's see, I have a ton of Dave Montgomery in this, and I think he's a good back for this. I will start with Diggs. I'm going to take a running back. Do I go David Montgomery? Do I go Caleb Johnson? I think Montgomery's just safer. I talked about Caleb Johnson on Who Haim Show earlier. I thought he looked really good, and I'm not worried about him being behind Gainwell. I think end of the day, he ends up easily with the most carries. I think he ends up with the most touchdowns. His receptions will be behind Warren, maybe behind Gainwell, but he's also shown not to be a complete zero in the passing game. So I think he's going to be fine. Ridley, that's a nice number for Ridley, and I could see him going over that. But that being said, Steelers offense is still probably middle of the pack at best. Lions, even if they fall off some, still probably remains in the top 10. And I think Montgomery will still have a pretty strong role, particularly in and around the goal line. Legion grabbing Laporta. And this, I'm probably lower on elite tight end. I mean, I think I have some decent share of Kittle. But if you do elite tight end, I definitely recommend only doing 2 tight ends. I think 3 tight end builds can be very strong. But it all kind of depends on how you work it out. The way I'm looking at now with 1-3-3, still will likely go 3 quarterbacks. That's almost guaranteed for me. Running back, I'm a little behind at, but I don't necessarily feel like I would definitively go 6. Receiver, I feel very strong. I think Chase and Higgins can absolutely dominate. Okay, so that's a good target number for Wilson. Yeah, I think he's going to be in the 120 to 140 range tops. He says 125 to 132. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But I also am factoring in Justin Fields' targets are not the same as Aaron Rodgers' targets. And in the past, Garrett Wilson, some of his best games were with Joe Flacco and Mike White, because Zach Wilson ain't exactly very accurate either. So I remember that year, Garrett Wilson's rookie year, he had some real smash games, but they were all with Joe Flacco. And the biggest knock on Wilson is I just don't think the Jets are going to throw for a ton of touchdowns this year. To me, the max is 20. So do you project? I think 7 would be insanely good, but that's kind of the max, and that was what he got last year, and that was with Devontae Adams. Even on his own this year, I'd be shocked if he gets 7. I think probably more 4 to 6. Yep, New Hames is always grinding the math. But I appreciate you sharing some of your projections. I think I talked about this on a stream before. Next year, we're getting a lot of things off the ground this year. Next year, I think I am going to try and do full projections because it's something I've always enjoyed. As I said, to kind of do it on my own, do it in my head. I really want to write it out. I think that will be part of our Substack next year, and I'll probably do some in-season projections as well. All right, we are coming up here. All right, I'm going to go Bo Nix with this first pick. And I'm going to go Evan Ingram with the second pick. So I don't have much Nix, so that was another thing. And as I mentioned before, this is now kind of a big team stack. Get Ingram, I can feel confident with stopping at 2 tight ends if I need to, but obviously could go 3 as well. And let me go back to the board. We'll go back to chat. Who got... So Tyler Warren went down. I was looking for Tyler Warren, but yeah. He looks absolutely awesome with the Colts. And I think benefits greatly with Daniel Jones. So you have 7.9 touchdowns for Wilson. That's definitely where we're different. I think it'd be tough. Like, I don't know what his line's at. Like, if you find his season-long line, but if it's more than 4.5, I'd struggle. If it was 5.5, I think that's kind of a push for me. Appreciate it. Those aren't real projections unless they bill at 40.3. Nice. Yeah, the JCM wars will define people for years to come. I mean, look, if B-Rob's gone, JCM is worth drafting. It's gotten a little extreme, especially when you've seen some in-game pulled up in like the top 100. That's where I think it's extreme, because Austin Eckler is still going to be a thing, like at the utmost. And the highest B-Rob got was like 80, right? You know, like he was going 85 for a long time. And I don't think JCM is going to be better than what we were projecting for B-Rob, right? So it'd be crazy to take him above that. And I do think Chris Rodriguez, even McNichols, will get some usage as well. So, yeah. You know, if you can get JCM in the 120 to 140 range, I think that's still fine, because the other backs go in there are, you know, either not fully set, or you know, guys who are injured. Like, you know, look at the guys on the board right now. Like, these are guys with some question marks, and some we might feel better about, like Scatterbo. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is going to clearly have a role. You know, Tank probably is fine, but Javonte, I mean, Javonte could be Dallas starting running back, or he could be RB3. Trey Benson, you know, what last year was not great for Trey Benson. He doesn't look great in the preseason. I think he expands his role a little bit this year, but I just don't have a ton of faith. Oh, targets per game. Okay, I feel much better about that. Not touchdowns. No, it's Chris Rodriguez season. Look, I've taken Chris Rodriguez in a couple 20-round formats today. Actually, I've seen Brian higher than JJ. I mean, that is not necessarily a crazy outlook. Obviously, Addison's missed in the first 3 games, but I would not be surprised if the Vikings throw the ball roughly 10% less this year. New quarterback who never threw the ball a ton in college, and just the Vikings are likely to be ahead. They have a great defense. They really improved their offensive line and rushing game with Mason and the offensive line additions. So I'm not going to be shocked if McCarthy throws the ball, 10% less, maybe more, like 15% less than Darnold. I think we should at least consider it. And as much as JJ is JJ, some of that filters down, So St. Brown, in the inverse, you could have the Lions throw the ball more because their defense is still somewhat questionable. I mean, some of it last year they were banged up, but their defense is nowhere near strong. Washington will 100% be a committee. Yeah. Gotcha. Thinking. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I could see that. JCM gets hurt. Fader's victory lap. Bill Bowles will say his generational wealth opportunity was Mahomes Rashid. Yeah, kind of. I'll talk about that more in 1 second. Let me make these picks. Oh, I am tempting some risky guys here. I think I go. think I go Tank Bigsby. And I will pull up. I did Mims last time. Let me actually pull up Keenan Allen. I like Mims. I have some Denver, but we'll go Keenan Allen. I did feel I need to go running back there. Just, I do like Tank. I think he could be kind of the touchdown guy in the Jags. I think he's going to have a role. And just, again, running backs are very important in this format. Going to get the most points. Tank is likely to project more than a lot of receivers in this range. Maybe I should have done the Mims and Keenan Allen double tap to improve my receiver room. Obviously, I'm relying a lot on Chase and Higgins here, but overall, it's a good, strong unit, I think. Yeah, one thing, banking's big in DFS. I would expect whichever running back is out there, Rodriguez, JCM, week 1 against the Giants. Giants should have a good run defense. That'd be my expectation. I know, this week in the playoffs they weren't perfect, or this week in the preseason they weren't perfect, but they have some good defensive linemen. So I would expect probably not good outcomes from either Rodriguez or JCM. So you could have them, like, from a DFS standpoint, or even like prop lines, like their numbers in week 2 to be artificially lower, just because prop lines won't know where to put them. DFS sites won't know where to price them, coming off a bad game. And I think in DFS, like, let's say it is Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, because he's so cheap, he's going to be so owned. I could make the case totally faded him. Yeah, more efficient, better quarterback play for St. Brown. Yeah, no, I get it. Goff, Gmo, St. Brown is my favorite best ball stack. Oh, nice. That is so far off from what I like. Very solid team, by the way. Appreciate banking. Looks like you're one of the better drafters I've seen stream. Well, I appreciate that too. Fade the high owned guy. Yeah, in terms of like DFS, absolutely. If we hear that JCM is the starter, he's going to be so chalk. And there's going to be other cheap pieces. Pricing is very, very loose week 1. I haven't looked too much at overall pricing for week 1, but I'll do that, next week. But yeah, I can't see myself playing a lot of it. It just, to me, it's a really tough matchup. Obviously Washington's a great offense and they excelled versus some tough matchups last year, but yeah, not one I want to. Not if JCM is going to be like 30% owned. Very solid team. Yeah, you knew your shit drafted. Appreciate it, banking. Really appreciate it. All right, let's see what Losimo and Peanut Punch do. Losimo taking the falling Mims. I have no idea why he's falling. I was going to scoop that so high. Yeah. Fortunately, I got a lot of Trey Harris in this. That is not good. And we're going to pull up Zach Ertz with one of these picks. And I think I go need receiver help. I would go to Mario Douglas. More of a floor play, but I want access to Drake May in the Patriots passing game. It's a double tap there, but it's one of those situations where I believe Drake May is going to be a good fantasy producer. I didn't get him in this draft, but I got 2 of his top weapons. So I'm going to generate a lot of points from the Patriots. That's also why I didn't go Henry, because I could go Ertz. That is the same week bye. I did whiff on that. I will admit that. I overthought that in my head. So yeah, you guys just compliment me for being a good drafter and make a big mistake. But I'll take a third tight end. I was probably going to do so anyways. You definitely don't want to take a 0 in this format. That is 100%. I don't want or have any JCM. I took a couple shares around 18, took one yesterday 150, and it felt gross. JCM hasn't impressed me much from what I've seen. If he beats me, he beats me. Not worried about, especially versus New York. Yeah, week 1, I just don't see myself taking any. They've both been priced, so we hear something, they should be chalk. Yep, 100% agree, Paulino. To be honest, I could see myself drafting this exact team probably for the first time, said that watching a streamer. Just my opinion. Well, I appreciate that, except hopefully you do better than me with the double week 12 tight end buys. Diggs is so damn good. Damn, I think Binking is coming on. Just kidding. No, I appreciate Binking, and please, I think this might be your first time here. We appreciate you to hit the sub button. We do shows, almost every day. I do a lot of shows. Sometimes, like tomorrow, I'm going to be on with Andrew. Thursday, I'll be on with my sister. I'll guest on. I'm definitely doing a show on Friday. Maybe I'll have a guest for it. Not sure yet, but yeah. So appreciate anyone's support with likes, subs, and everything else. We really appreciate the comments. Comments after the stream help the algorithm a lot as well. I like the balance you have in your construction, more of a winner versus loser team. Yeah, I'm very big in lineup construction, and I've seen you in some chats before, Binking. So just not sure if you're aware or not. Like, last year I was lucky enough to get 13 finals teams on Underdog, 3 on DraftKings, 13 on Underdog, and I did get 4th place in the big board. So I had a nice little payday there, and I'm a really big believer in construction and like team build, like how you're building the team matters more than player takes. I definitely have my player takes. And I think there's a role for them, but I think smart drafting is paramount. Well, way to go, jinxing. Yeah, saying I'm a smart drafter and then I make a huge mistake. But no, it's all good. I should have thought that through. I was just torn between a couple different options, and I forgot that Ingram was my tight end. He will be May's go-to. Diggs will get peppered. Yeah, I'm big on Diggs, and I think DeMario is pretty good also. Time to release the final button. Well, Mike Joe. We got our guy Gritty in here. Mike Bulldog. Has JCM craze slowed the Braylon Allen ADP rise? I think it has. Like, Braylon Allen has looked good in 2 weeks in preseason. Camp reports are glowing, and he's moving up, but it's not as extreme as you'd believe. So coming up on these 2 picks, obviously go Ford again. Don't love it, but I might. We'll take a shot on the spike week guy like Dante Thornton. I will wait on tight end. I think I am going to go Ford again. Need non-week 8 or non-week 12 buy. I'm probably stopping at 5 running backs. So I will take Ford here. Because originally in my head, I thought Ollie Gordon, because I don't have any of him in this format, but he's another week 12. I don't really want 3 of my 5 running backs to be the same bye week. Good nonsense media in here saying, yo, what's the marathon format all about, boss man? So I talked about it earlier. This is my second one draft of the night. I will be doing more drafts. Not sure if it'll be marathon or maybe try the mini best ball. We'll talk about it after this draft's done. But the marathon, it's season long. It's weeks 1 through 17. There is no playoff format. You're looking for to be one of the top scoring lineup. So really rewards good drafting. It rewards getting the highest amount of points. It's very similar to the drafters format. Of course, that's 20 rounds, so you actually have a couple more shots on goal to get the best lineup. But I'm a fan of it for sure, and I think it's one of the better ROI contests, even if there isn't overlay, which right now there's still probably trending to be overlay. Just the fact that if you're one of the top 16%, so 12,000 teams, not only do you get your money back, but you actually double your money. And then, the prizes really go up there. So yes, you have to really build a great team to do so. But I know like Mathology has talked about on Neil Orfield streams, like he's the guy who in the regular season last year, there's no regular season prize for the BBM, but he had by far the highest scoring lineup. And of course, he made the playoffs, but I don't even think he advanced to the semifinals with that team. And so that was out of 600 some thousand people. He had the highest scoring lineup, and it got him $35. So in this format, that lineup would have killed any marathon team last year, I believe. And he would have won 100K. Well, if it was in the marathon last year, he would have won 300K. But this year, it's 100K top prize. So it's a good format, I feel like. And you definitely want more certainty, safety. Like I talked about before, injured guys, suspended guys, they definitely take a hit in this format. So yeah, any other questions, feel free to ask. Nonsense. Thinking, didn't know that, but I can tell you're a sharp draft for senior construction. Appreciate that. Thanks, man. It makes me feel good. I fear Anthony Richardson back to 18th round pick for me. Yeah, he definitely is for me. I mean, I'll be moving him down. I've been creeping him up. I said on BBG's channel, his 12-hour stream the other day, I thought Richardson might get the starting role, but probably wouldn't hold on to it for the year. And I still kind of thought Daniel Jones would end up with more games. But, now it's to the point where it's 100% Daniel Jones to start. Still not sure he starts every single game. But the coaching staff did say, like, he's got a long leash and all, what else are they going to say? I do think it's going to be tough to unseat him. So I need to grab a quarterback. Let's see, I have week 10, week 12. Don't want to do any of those. I'm going to take Gesicki because that gives me a tight end buy that is different than Ingram and Ertz, and just got to hope that he is healthy, which I think he will be. And of course, it's a stack, so it makes a lot of sense there. And I will take Rodgers. I took Daniel Jones in the last one. I think he would have been a fine click again. But Aaron Rodgers, I think, is, in terms of like floor, he finished as, of quarterbacks who started like 7 or more games last year. So he had some weird random spikes. The Joe Milton game, I think we saw how serious that is, of, Jimmy Garoppolo game, whatever. But in terms of points per game, I think he finished 16th in points per game last year. And Aaron Rodgers in his 17 games, 11 games of 15 or more points. So he gives a really strong floor. He had a couple 20-plus point games, including 30 points week 15. If this was the team last year, I know Aaron Rodgers would have outscored both Joe Burrow and Bo Nix that week. So, he might only hit my lineup 3-4 times, and a couple times it might be he gets 19 points and Joe Burrow had 17 points. But like I talked about earlier, like in the marathon, a couple points here and there can really make a big difference. Same with drafters. Anyone who does drafters knows this for a fact. This was pre-draft last year. the pre-draft drafters. And I did a handful of them. I think I finished 9th in it, and Al Boogie, friend of the show, friend, you see him in, he had a high BBM final, but I beat Al Boogie by like 1.7 points from 9th to 10th place. And it was like I don't know, $250 difference between the two, but it's like that matters, so, one game of Aaron Rodgers getting 2 more points than Burrow could be the difference between, and you say, oh, it's just one place, but hey, money, any money bonus is money bonus. So, and just, I think it helps secure your floor. And of course, with injuries or during these guys' bye weeks, even if he only hit, like, let's say he only hit during 2 bye weeks, I still think Aaron Rodgers is a good pick there. Who Hames, you definitely know your ball too. I like your mindset over disco and sleaze. Yeah, no, I mean, Who Hames, we are, there are definitely some things we disagree on, but Who Hames and I, and that's why we do the show together. I think we both really enjoy talking ball, and yeah, I've seen you in the disco streams and Binging. I know you do drafters, right? So you definitely understand the marathon format. Still tough to see Jalen Jones just starting all season. Yeah, I mean, I would put it low, probably slightly better than like Russ starting all year, or Joe Flacco starting all year. But there's at least a percent chance. I mean, if he plays well, and look, if they're competitive, I mean, they were a competitive team 2 years ago with Gardner Minshew. Didn't make the playoffs, but they were competitive. I think it also boils down to, are the other skill guys benefiting? Because the Colts have invested, they've a first-round pick in Tyler Warren, 4 second-round picks in their skill position guys, and a third-round pick. The 4 second-round picks being Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, and of course Donnie Mitchell. They've given big money to both Pittman and Taylor, and then a third-round pick in Josh Downs. And it's just kind of been wasted with Anthony Richardson. Like, he probably benefited Pierce the most, but I don't think anyone felt good about it. So, yeah, if those guys are producing, I could see them start longer. So I need a receiver. Is Roman Wilson still there? Oh, he went. That's not good. Oh, boy. We'll go Tyler Lockett. Yeah, I should have had somebody else queued. That's the third week 10 buy. Not ideal. I think Tyler Lockett has good floor. I wanted to get down to Ray, but I'd hoped to get Roman Wilson. I should have queued that up. So that was my bad. But overall, decent team. We'll go over my team and the other ones in chat real quick. I went 3-5-7-3, so the real standard balanced build. Joe Burrow, Bo Nix, Aaron Rodgers, Martin Hampton, RJ Harvey, Dave Montgomery, Tank Bigsby, Jerome Ford. Generally speaking, outside of Jerome Ford, because I think the Jags offense is pretty good, just really trying to hammer really good offenses here. Would not shock me if these were all top 12 offenses. Chargers, Broncos, Detroit, and Jacksonville. Receivers, Chase and Higgins. Could be receiver 1 and 2 again. Steph Diggs took him last time. Absolutely love him. Keenan Allen. Again, Chargers piece. Really believe in that offense. Demario Douglas, another Patriots piece. So, like I said, just really getting a good chunk of Drake May's passing, giving me access to that. Then went with, because I had some floor plays here and like Allen and Demario Douglas, went with the Spike Week guy and Thornton. Should have gotten my guy Ray McLeod, but Tyler Lockett's fine. Week 10 I'll be a little thinner. Maybe I need a tight end to handle Week 10 for me. But then Evan Ingram, Zach Ertz, Mike Gesicki, probably a little thinner than I want as a total team construction Week 12 with 2 tight ends and one receiver and 2 running backs. And then Week 10 is a little thinner. Luckily, no running backs there, so might need a flex from the running back position. But overall, I think this is a pretty strong team. Should get a good amount of points. And we will go to Peanut Punch, 3573. So he went balanced build as well. McCarthy, Penix, Daniel Jones. So he gets Daniel Jones. And again, like let's say Daniel Jones only plays 10 games. In BBM, we're determining, ideally we want, if somebody told you Daniel Jones is going to play 10 games and he's starting, you're hoping he misses some time in the middle and then comes back at the end. Here it could be weeks 1 through 10. They go on by week 11, and then the Colts are done. They give Anthony Richardson the rest to go. Well, by that time, Daniel Jones, and for this lineup in particular, is covering these buys, giving you 10 startable weeks. That's a lot of value in this format. So then Bijan Robinson, Kyren Williams, Alvin Kamara, Zach Charbonnet, Ray Davis, really strong running back room, taking 5 guys by the top 150. Ladd McConkey, George Pickens, Deebo Samuel, Jordan Addison. So, there is a suspension there, but I think it's covered with this kind of receiver room, like 3 receivers ahead of them you feel good about. Keon Coleman should be fine. Also, Alec Pierce, Pat Bryant, I do have some concerns about, but maybe late in the year he spikes for him. And then Tucker Kraft, Isaiah Likely, Cole Kmet. As long as Likely, and it sounds like Likely will be back week 5, that's totally fine. Cole Kmet helps your floor, even if he's not the clear starter. And we go Losimo's team, 2592. That's definitely a more interesting build. Let's see. We did with that Josh Allen, Gino, Saquon, Chuba Hubbard, Isaiah Pacheco, so like 3 clear starters. Aaron Jones, kind of that mix of a starter, and then Woody Marks trying to decipher something from this Texans running back room. So this is why it goes 9 receivers. His first one's not till DJ Moore. His next one's not until 90s, where he taps Michael Pittman, Jaden Higgins, Chris Godwin, Marvin Mims, Romeo Doubs, Xavier Leggett, DeAndre Hopkins, Jack Betch. So, taking a few riskier young guys like Leggett and Betch, Godwin, who might miss some time early. So I get why you go 9 there. And Bowers Kincaid is obviously very good enough there. So, I think it's a fine build. Obviously you need Allen to stay healthy. I generally still think 3 quarterbacks is the optimal, but you can get by with a potential elite guy for sure. Legion's in here. I don't think I saw Grifflicious in chat. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. If anyone else is in chat and wants me to look over their team. So 2682, Lamar Goff, Gibbs, Brees Hall, J.K. Dobbins, Dylan Sampson, Rico Dowdle, Kyle Monangai. Overall, I like that running back room. Gibbs being the clear alpha. Brees Hall should be okay. Dobbins and Dylan Sampson, Dowdle, Monangai, all could get used. So definitely can mix in London, Flowers, Judy, Hollywood Brown. Who Williams had mentioned he's back at practice or coming back at practice. So that's good to see because I have plenty of him. Adam Thielen, Torrey Horton, Darius Slayton, Roman Wilson. So he got my Roman Wilson. And yeah, nice little balance here. Some guys you feel more certain about, like Thielen and Slayton. Guys like Horton and Wilson who could pop late, as the young guys who could develop more. And then Laporta and Joku. Yeah, solid team. Really good team. Yeah, so it's just like drafters. Yep. Yeah, so it's actually cheaper than drafters this year. Binky and thanks, I fish for a compliment. You complied. Who's Mathology? So he was the guy through weeks 1 through 14. He's done some streams with Neil Orfield on his channel, but he, in BBM last year, he had the highest point total. And then, advanced to playoffs, but there was no regular season prize pool like there was 2 years ago or like there is this year. And just had this massive score. But, the pod, and I don't think it's just pod luck as much as he just didn't have a good week 15. We got PPR Tyler in here. Hit the like button or I'll never stream again. I haven't streamed in like a week. Yeah, no, I know PPR Tyler is busy. School's starting back up and coaching. He will be on. He's a semifinalist. Good to see him in here. Not sure when he's streaming next. Me, he's streaming tonight. But he will be on Ball Jeopardy not this week, but next week. And looking forward to that one. How is the real world? Working 14-hour days every goddamn day. Yeah, good luck, PPR. hope you get through it, man. Okay, coolers, that sucks for you, to be honest. Yeah, Danny Dimes was brought in for a reason and serviceable. Yeah, sorry, I'm real behind in chat, so let me catch up in chat before we get into anything else. Only way AR plays if an injury. Yeah, I mean, I guess if Dimes looks so terrible, I agree. But yeah, I'm not taking any more A-Rich. Jones got benched last year. New York can still complain himself have a job. A-Rich can do the same. Mostly himself. He mostly destroys himself. I agree with that, Hoohames. Mike and I think having JT and that O-line should be okay enough for Danny to be fine. And this I agree with. And this is what I was saying. They have so much talent around them. Yeah, you can say Dan Jones had neighbors last year. Then your next two receivers are Slayton and Wandale. They don't crack the top four on the Colts. And of course, tight end like Tyler Warren, JT, it's just such a talented team. I'd probably be a top 5 NFL play caller. Well, I mean, there are some real bad ones out there, so that's true. This 100% endorse. Like Nathaniel Hackett, how does he have a job? I mean, I know nepotism, but well, I look forward to seeing that PPR. Jones had Saquon and still couldn't get it done. I mean, so what I will say is, so 2 years ago, Saquon got banged up, then Jones got banged up. They had no receivers. That was kind of last year. 3 years ago, obviously, with Saquon, they go to the playoffs. That got Daniel Jones his money. I don't think Daniel Jones should be treated as some like clear, good starting quarterback. But the Colts coaching staff has talked all season about wanting consistency. And why do they want consistency? Because I think they feel like they can contend if they're consistent. They can't contend if they're inconsistent. This was a team who last year they crushed some teams and then next week look totally lost. I just think they know they have the offensive skill guys. They want to get them going. And even like an below average quarterback, I think, can get that done. A lot of stacking wide receiver sets. Love playing out of the stack. Nice. AR has had his opportunity and blew it, to be honest. And me to the AR mindset. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that helps. Hoohames and I talked about it earlier. Like, even whether players were directly talking to the coaches or maybe they just realized, like, look, it's not going well for me. I'm not getting the targets. Jonathan Taylor, I'm not getting the same runs when AR is in there because we're always in third and long. He's killing plays by all the incomplete passes. Like, we just can't sustain drives. I get that same feeling from Caleb Williams, honestly. I mean, I think Caleb, look, I like what we saw in the preseason game from Caleb. I do believe in Ben Johnson. I believe in the offense line additions. They got a ton of weapons. Your guy, Ray McLeod. Yeah, I mean, he is. I mean, maybe not as much your guy since you are the Falcons fan, but I have 6 to 10% of him in every Superflex, regular, marathon, sprint, etc. So I'm probably the next highest Ray Bull after you, PPR. To be honest, if AR went to any other team, he might not be a starter. No, I don't know if they're, sure, on like the Browns or something, he might get a starting opportunity, but there's very few teams where AR would get a, Saints would be one, but I mean, Kellen Moore is going to want to run his offense. Like, I don't think a lot of coaches like that. Like in baseball, they call it the 3 true outcomes, like home run, walk, or strikeout. Like AR it's kind of like a 2 true outcomes, or I guess you could say 3. It's like 60-yard touchdown, incomplete, or turnover. So 2 of those are negative, and 2 of those totally kill drives, kill your momentum. One of those is great, obviously, but he's just not. There's no consistency. There's no sustained drives there. Stafford, Darnold, Danny, hell, even Dart is more draftable. Did you rethink Ladd at all today? Glad the Colts are moving on for good. Yeah, I mean, I still could see them have some pressure to go back to him, but I agree. Like, if Dan Jones is positive, he will keep the job. Talk about Ladd. I'm in the second for Ladd. I just think he gets more than enough targets. I think it's very good. Love free commit people are sleeping. Ben Johnson has led the league in 12-22 personnel the last 3 years. Both will be used and lucky for us. This is the best ball. No, that's a fair point. Komet would start on multiple teams in the NFL. Would not shock me. Love him miss some time, especially early on. Like, Komet might have some more usable games. Who I'm saying he's still a lad over AJ Brown. I'm kind of the same. Yeah, I love Komet as a third tight end. We'll get some play plus a boost if Loveland falters or gets hurt. Komet has been a durable dude. Yep. No, I agree with all this. So I will be getting into another draft. I need to catch up in chat a little bit more. Peanut punching at me for calling you. PP Punch. Haven't seen you in a while, dude. Vegas for 2 weeks, going through the Utah withdrawals. Nice. And there for work, but found time to lose plenty. Yeah, that is usually the case with Vegas. In 2 totally different scenarios, teams literally. Yeah, I mean, look, I think you have to look at past performance. It is a good predictor of future results, and I don't think we shouldn't come in here and think Daniel Jones is going to, be the greatest quarterback of all time. I will say, and Meg talked about this, is we've seen a lot of quarterback reclamation projects in recent years. Last year with Darnold and the Vikings, the Bucks with Baker Mayfield, the Seahawks with Geno Smith. It happened. So maybe Shane Steichen will totally turn him around. I still think at the end of the day, Daniel Jones is a very replaceable quarterback. You get a good draft pick in there, he can get replaced in a year or two. But at the same time, I think he's very much an upgrade over, over what we've seen from Anthony Richardson. I mean, 50% completion rate is just totally untenable in today's NFL. I mean, that's like 1980s NFL. And even then, it wasn't good. So yeah, no, I mean, I was drafting more Daniel Jones than AR. I was moving AR up the last couple of weeks when reports were looking that he might start, just because, as this said, best ball, there's value any weeks. And yeah, I don't think FK was saying that he was taking Anthony Richardson higher. I'm pretty sure he's been out on him all along. We got Brett in here, Brett from Underdog. Those who don't know, Steve, not sure if you've done any yet. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the pick 6 if you've given it a shot. Definitely a trial contest for us, expanding our options a bit. Yeah, so Brett, I just ran 2 marathons to take advantage of Underdog's promo. I was going to get into the pick 6 and do a couple of those now, just catching up in chat. So I will be gaining some of those. Still need to do more marathons. I've already done now 5. I want to do 5 more, take full advantage of Underdog's promo. So highly recommend that for anyone doing the marathon. And I will definitely let you know, Brett. Tight ends can be so useless. Can't tell you the amount of times I've had 3 tight end, dead build, advance, nothing from tight end, either all 3 lame or a few points a week. And I agree with this. I swear we're almost caught up. 2 years ago, when last time Underdog did the regular season, prize for points in the BBM, I did 40 teams. I had 3 of them finish in the top 10,000. My highest scoring team of those was a 2 tight end team, and it was Cole Kmet, who we were just talking about, and Pat Freiermuth. That year, Pat Freiermuth missed like 6 games, whatever it was, and Cole Kmet was good. He had some down games because Justin Fields had some real down games, but and of course Pat Freiermuth was relying on Kenny Pickett, so I was in some trouble there. Let's say at tight end, but I took a 0. Cole Kmet's bye week. Pat Freiermuth was supposed to play. He was trending to playing like that Thursday, and I was like, oh yes, I have him playing, but he ended up not playing that week. And so I took a stone 0, had plenty of other like weaker weeks, and I still finished like in the top 3,000 of lineups that year with that team. Sure, like I wish I had a better tight end, because then maybe I would have turned that into some real money. But it was nice, and that just shows. So for like a format like Marathon, you could have had you would have had a really high finish. Again, that was out of 600 some thousand lineups. Colts clearly just want to win games now. Not sure if it gets them either way, but we'll see. I think it just gets them competitive. I think, I generally agree. I think between what we saw with his attitude and just lack of talent, like he's going to have to go do a long grind. And maybe it's like Geno Smith, where it takes years. Sam Darnold took a couple years. So I think if Richardson wants to keep working at it, maybe in a couple of years, somebody gives him, keeps learning, going to some different teams, learning. Like Sam Darnold's done that. I think it's been a positive. Like Baker Mayfield credits the Browns cutting him signing with the Rams, that little, stint he had there. I know he credits that for part of his like rebuild, or I guess it was he was traded to the Panthers, right? That's what I'm thinking of. I might be getting my years confused. I guess the only amount DJ a few months ago, was talked about a month ago. We love Cleveland, probably rushing upside that late. Yeah. Pick 6 looks interesting, but I own 2 formats. It's growth exposures. I'm pretty sure, Hames, that this one is not going to be like Badge Bros. I don't think it'll be included in I haven't done one yet, so I can't tell you, but I don't think it'll be included in it'll be separate, kind of like Marathon, Sprint, Weekly Winner, etc. Yeah, agreed. It's going to be tough. One thing I will say, the slows, you can do some slows and they will go quick, just because it's only 6-man things. Awesome. Have a great time. Who aims at separate ADP system will show up in separate exposures. Won't blend with normal best ball here. And Brett, if you're still here, I will say going forward, I love the Batch Bros Brawl. If going forward next year we could switch that to a different thing, I know that probably is difficult on some level, but that I agree. It can be not annoying, but I know my exposures are different than they actually show up because of that. Because like I have a bunch of Chase and Bijan and all the top tier guys, so that would be one feedback for the Badge Bros Brawl going forward. I think it's a great tournament, but it is frustrating that the exposures are caught in the middle of everything else. Pick 6 is a mitten with an extra RB slot. Yeah, vaporware. It's like the playoff best ball. It's also, like I said, battle royale. Let's go over the format real quick. I talked about it early in the show, but we will get into it shortly. Where is it? So pick 6. Probably going to do at least 2 of these on stream tonight. 6-man drafts, so you can do 30-second or 8-hour. just keep in mind the slow clock will be switching soon, but that's why I said, even if you do go slow, it will be done pretty quick, I imagine. It's already 15% filled, so people are definitely trying it out. 50 entry max, draft size is 6 people, top prize $25K. If you make the finals, and the advance rate is 1 of 6, so 1 person out of the pod, then 1 of 5, 1 of 5, 225 seed final. You make the finals, you get 75, so you want to get your full max. But it's pretty good advance rates, 1 of 5, 1 of 5. So you probably have a better chance of getting maybe 2 teams to the final. And I don't know how many people are truly going to max this in a short time frame. It's clearly filling fast, but the real caveat here is the roster. Like Vaporware just said, it's kind of like a mitten, or you could look at a BR format, but there's a bench, so the best ball aspect comes into play. You have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receiver / tight end, 1 flex. So I kind of said it's kind of like Badge Bros and rookie sophomore together. Rookie sophomore had 12 rounds, only 4-man drafts, but wide receiver, tight end were 1 combined position. And you had the like the Badge Bros, the 6-person draft. So only 60 people are going to be taken in this. I think getting a little unique. You don't have to go crazy unique. You don't have to JCM might be in the top 60 now, but you don't have to go take like a Tyler Algier or somebody like that. Not that I think that'd be the greatest pick, but an Ollie Gordon to get unique in this. You take RB 24 and you're going to be unique. Same with wide receiver. With only needing to start 2 and some tight ends. And sure, only about half the tight ends are probably really viable for this. Not even, but 8 to 10 tops. It does deepen the position. So I think the approach is you want to win at quarterback, you want to win at running back, you want to win at the flex. I think the best way is having a really strong running back staple. So I probably will build this 2 quarterbacks, of my 10 picks. I think most times I'm going to look for 2 to 3 quarterbacks, probably 2. But I think 3 actually can be very powerful, especially with advancing out your first pod. Minimum 3 running backs, more likely 4. So if you go 2, 4, that leaves 4 receivers. And I think I'd go 2, 4, 4 most of the time, receivers or tight ends. So I think I'd go 2, 4, 4 most of the time. I think sometimes even 2, 5, 3, since you only need 2. And if you're hoping to win the flex with your running back, the receivers would have to have 3 different buys, of course. And really bye weeks, I think, really come into importance. With these 6-man pods and only 1 advancing, you don't want to ever take a 0. So, you can't take 2 quarterbacks with the same buy. If you do, you have to take a third. I really believe that to be true. You can't take, you can't take 3 week 8 running backs. I mean, sure, they all look great, but like Genty, Connor, and Walker, that's just not going to work. If so, you better take 5 running backs to at least cover those 2 running back spots. So, we are going to enter the first one. I will enter at 10:10 p.m. Eastern time, and this will be my first one. So we will try it out, and once I enter, I will get back to chat. So, new format. Definitely want to play around with it some. I don't think I will have time to max, but I'll probably try and get 10, at least 10 in, see what it's like. See what I feel like, and be happy to give Brett and everyone at Underdog some feedback. So 10:10, we are entering. There are still some spots. Anyone wants to jump in? Now, Peanut, I went to trying the new mini best ball. Correct, we use the same. Yeah, so it will be different. And that was the conversation I had. Batch Bros Brawl, but Superflex, that would be fun. So draft starting. I got the 5th spot. We got our guy Boston George in here. We got Huhames in here, so he's giving it a try. Yeah, this will be fun. Steve, I thought I recall a story that like that with you makes me want to sprinkle in 5 to 15 one tight end builds with labels so I can track how they do. I mean, still generally I don't recommend it. But yeah, I mean that team, you know, and it's not like I had like tight end 1 on the year. It was Cole Kmet. Yeah, Brett works for Underdog. He's part of the team. So we're going to be starting soon, and these will go quick, so I won't be able to hit as many chats. Sorry, my closing line, but gotcha. Brett, any hints on BR release? Good show. Definitely made note of that. Appreciate that, Brett. I appreciate all the feedback. Underdog does. So this has started. And we will see what we get at the 4th spot or 5th spot. All right, I will take Saquon. I am going to take Derrick Henry. So getting to the top running backs from last year feels like a good start. Also different buys, so that feels good as well. Like I said, I don't want to be too overweight on single buys at a position or even the total team. Like you don't want like 2 running backs, a quarterback, and 2 receivers all week 8. You just don't want to get too far behind, I think, any week. I do think, Bowers, McBride, they need to go lower in this. Like they don't compete as well with some of these elite receivers. And you're not getting the value of them being a unique player. Yeah, I'll go Lamar still. I'll just take the full Baltimore offense. I think that is totally fine in this format. I think that obviously would have paid off exceptionally well last year. I will go Josh Jacobs. Let's just get the buys unique. I like Bucky a lot. Same buy as Barkley. I don't think that's terrible. I think you could stop at 3 running backs with these 3. Obviously, you wouldn't have one of them mixing in for the flex on their 3 different bye weeks. I probably will go 4 running backs. And having Lamar, I do feel more confident going just 2 quarterbacks. I think if I don't get like one of the top 5 quarterbacks, 4 or 5 quarterbacks, I'm probably going to go 3 quarterbacks a lot of the times just because you do have to contend with the Lamar team. You have to contend with the Josh Allen team. And only one can advance. But so yeah, I think so far it's right. Like, quarterbacks going ahead of some of these receivers, going ahead of these tight ends. I think that is absolutely the right play out. And yeah, this is why I went 3 running backs early. I mean, look at these receivers that I have the option to. I mean, these are all, maybe not Tyreek, but these are all 2nd round talents. So feel really good about that. We'll see if one of them gets back to me. Shoelace has also won 3 running backs here. Not sure if he's in chat, but he's definitely got the same mindset I do. All right. Ooh, Hurts is tempting. Very tempting. I'm going to go Higgins. I am going to go. I'm going to go James Cook. It is the same buy as Henry, but every other week, you know, I will have 3 running backs. I'm going to stop at 4, but legitimately, I could have 4 of the top 8 running backs. That feels very strong in this. Obviously, I'm behind at receiver. But I think I will be fine. Again, I only need to start 2 receivers every week but week 7. And that's my plan. And I need to get another quarterback at some point. But obviously, quarterback is deep, basically anyone I think is good. These percentages, ignore the percentages. That's obviously my marathon percentages. So I like guys like Mike Evans, Xavier Worthy, Devontae Adams. Again, these are like 2nd, 3rd round guys. I'm getting them. I've already made 6 picks. We will go Mike Evans. Kittle's still there. I think this begin needs to slide probably a little bit more, but I think you can start making the case for Kittle. I do think I go Worthy. It's same by as Higgins, but I think that's fine. I think stacks are fine. Baker would have been a nice stack. And Burrow obviously went. Where did Burrow go? Oh, Burrow went early. Chase drafted, made sure he got Burrow. So, yeah, just 2 more picks. I need a quarterback. If I can get a stack, great. But end of the day, points matter the most. So that is going to be my priority. And, Mahomes definitely would be in the mix with Worthy. Drake May, I think that was a good pick by Who Hames. He was absolutely going to be an option for me. So I will take Mahomes here. I think he's a good pick in this. 2nd quarterback gives me a really good floor. And we need another receiver. We're going to scroll down a little bit. See how far down I want to go. I mean, again, I don't think you need to go crazy. I think Roma Dunze is a really great pick in this. Nowhere near 100% owned. And, different buy. I think, and this is why they're doing it. These drafts go quick. They're fun. We'll be interested to see how they fit in to the underdog format going forward. We've seen underdog this year, have the big rookie sophomore post draft. I think that was really smart. I really enjoyed that post draft so we could understand bye weeks and some situations. I wouldn't mind seeing multiple rookie sophomores in the future. We saw, big Superflex puppy, much bigger than the Superflex puppy last year. That was a lot of fun. One other Superflex contest. Still, fingers crossed, hoping for another Superflex contest this week. So we're seeing them try different structures, different things. I don't think this is going to replace, the regular best ball, of course, but this is a nice, fun little format. And yeah, so let's, my team 2-4-4, kind of what I said I was going to do. Lamar Mahomes, 4 running backs, really try to bully the room at running back with Barkley, Henry, Jacobs, Cook, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Xavier Worthy, Roma Dunze. I mean, the way I look at it, I don't have the true elite receiver, though Higgins very well could be. So can Evans. And Worthy obviously is that spike week. Let's look at our other guys in here. We got Who Hames, 3-3-4. So May, Penix, Herbert, Bijan, Walker, TraVion Henderson, like I said, 3 different buys. I think if you're only going 3 running backs, that's the way to go. If you're going 3 running backs or 3 receivers, because you want to get that extra quarterback, I think you've got to go 3 different buys. And then receivers, Puka, London, Brian Thomas, Lad McConkey. So his receivers are insane. Running backs are still very good. And yeah, I mean, all these teams are going to be really strong. That's why I do think, again, you want to get a little different. You don't want to get crazy different. And then Boston George, 334 himself. He went Hurts, Mayfield, and that's why he had to tack on a 3rd quarterback. But, I mean, his quarterback points are going to be insane. Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, so 3 different buys, exactly there. Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, Devontae Adams, Mecca and Buka. So, yeah, going down, Keenan Buka, nice pickup there. Also stacking. I like that. I like that strategy. I'm not going to be near 100% owned. So that was fun. We're going to get into another one of these real quick. But let me hit up with chat first. See what's going on. No, I do not work for Underdog. That's why I'm able to draft. Like Brett says, he's part of draft operations. So he can't do these kind of drafts. I mean, they have their employee drafts, but yeah, no, Brett's a good guy. He's been in chats before. I follow him on Twitter. I asked him a question. I mentioned before about the marathon. I entered 2 at like 1:15 in the morning slows. And I wanted to see if those counted towards the marathon promo. He got right back to me and confirmed they counted. So that's why I was able to give you guys that information as well. FK saying, yeah, with only 60 players taken per draft, combos of players matter quite a lot. Yeah. But you definitely do not need to wander too far down the board with raw fantasy points rankings. I think there could be duplicate rosters. I think it's definitely possible. I just think I think even with 10 rounds, like, because it's not even like like vaporware, like you mentioned, like the playoff format, I think there's a greater chance for duplicates there, because there you're looking to optimally correlate. So if you are right and you found the way to build out the Eagles Chiefs mitten, somebody else could have been doing the exact same thing, right? And you're only so many limited playoff teams you're picking from. Here, all 32 teams are available. Not to say every team's going to have, outside neighbors, we're not going to see really Giants. We're not going to see a lot of Saints. You could take Kamara and maybe a shot at one of the receivers, but Browns, we're not seeing Judy. I don't think you're going to see a lot of Judy drafted, etc. So some teams won't be used, but still you're going to have like 20, 25 teams that were heavily drafted 1 to 3 players. So I think the mix, the changes are going to be enough to make it relatively unique, but I think there's a chance you could have a duplicate. Just did a pick 6 and everyone avoided Bowers McBride. I might have a super team. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they're still 100% draftable. It's just I think they should go later. I don't think they should go where they probably currently go ADP. So that is nice. If I played, I would do a lot of 1-5-4 rosters. I question. So if you make the playoffs, I think you're fine. But a 1-5-4, let's say you had Lamar last year. Yes, he had the most points for any quarterback, but he wasn't that far, particularly in weeks 1 through 14. Like, he separated a little in the playoffs because, Hurts got injured. Allen had the great week 15, but not a good week 16, 17. But so not only is like the Allen and Hurts team right behind you, say, of any other team, but then even if they went one quarterback, but assuming that they went like, Allen Baker, even Allen Darnold. Last year, Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow were not top 6 quarterbacks. So they were guys' number 2 quarterbacks. Same with Goff, same with all those guys. So those, I would guess every combo is above you. So is that extra player you're adding at running back or receiver, is that carrying enough extra points to get that Lamar team over the combo, the 5 other combos that are in your draft? I don't know. I think sometimes it could still advance. And then if you just have a good run out, the other thing I'll say is in the playoffs, only 4 quarterbacks average 20 or more fantasy points. Or I'm sorry, not average. 4 quarterbacks had 20 or more fantasy points in every single of the weeks 15, 16, 17. So, like I said, Allen was absolutely the guy you need week 15. But in this format, you would have wanted like Allen Goff or Allen Baker or some other combo for sure. Literally have no idea, but it's fun. Yeah. And yes, Brett, thanks so much for jumping in, checking in. Why was your 10-10 different than mine? I got it one. Oh, well, I think these are filling very quick. So you probably hit it right on the 10-10 dot, and I was probably 10-10 in 5 seconds. And I'm guessing you're the last one in. Try to take Bill pick too. All right, let me catch up with the chat so I don't get too far behind, and then we'll do another one. Yeah, Hulk, what were you doing? Not drafting Bill. Barkley Henry is fire. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, thank you so much, Brett, for jumping in, and appreciate all that you guys do. Steve looking to show us in the locker with that start. Paulina, were you in that draft? What is your team name? I'm more of an RB guy, so I'm loving the start. Yeah. I mean, I'm an underdog RB bull, that's for sure. Feels like you need one of the top 4 quarterbacks or Burrow with Chase. I agree. I mean, I also think you can have a combo. Like, last year, if you had done, I mean, even if you ignored Burrow, but like if you had done Jaden, and Baker probably isn't getting drafted in this format, but Jaden Goff last year would have been very strong, and easily draftable. So I do think having an elite is very beneficiary. Yeah, someone double tap quarterback in my first room. Quarterback is so gross after Burrow. I think there are ways, but there I'm going 3. There I'm trying to build out like, Kyler, Baker, and May or something like that. Bo Nix, yeah, those types of guys. I'm doing the thing. The thing is stupid, but it's a thing. We got Chad Candles in here. GM, Flock 9 just dropped. Well, enjoy. I'm not really a Flock guy. Nothing. It's just not my tournament. And I'm going to be focusing on these drafts. But I know plenty, and I know Who Hames finished high in it last year. A couple other streamers did. The 1 of 12 gets me. It's got a lower, a lower rake, but it's also one of the lowest percents of people who make money. So that's why, just with so many other tournaments, I'm going to focus on other things. JSN gone. Yeah, maybe I missed it. Like the mitten. So the difference in the mitten is, like I said, it's the playoff format and you have the team, particularly the mitten, not the mitten returns, but the mitten one. And it's a team that starts with wild card weekend. That can work because you're just relying on that one quarterback the entire time. But again, we're going through 14 weeks. And I think that's the difference here is even Lamar, there's so many combos that would have outscored Lamar last year. Lamar, I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. Lamar was clearly QB1. Let me just double check that since I don't want to be totally talking out of my ass. But let's see, weeks 1 through 15 or 1 through 14. Let me bring it up. So using Fantasy Pros, a weekly tool, weeks 1 through 14, Lamar had averaged 25 points. He had 324.4 fantasy points. Underdog scoring might be a little slightly different, but I think it's roughly the same. Next closest was Josh Allen, averaging 23.7, and then Joe Burrow, 22.3, and Jalen Hurts, 22.1. So difference between Allen and Lamar was 16 points, so just under 16 points. So it's a little over a point per game. Burrow, little, 34 points, and Jalen Hurts would have been 37 points. So roughly 37 points. So yeah, that seems like an insurmountable difference. But if you did Jalen Hurts and Baker, and you have more than, like, just looking, Baker had 10 more points than Jalen Hurts week 1. Baker had 12 more points than Jalen Hurts week 5. Right then and there. Plus, don't forget the bye week. That is big as well, because you're getting points at bye week. Even if it's a 12-point game, more likely a 15-point game, you're taking a 0 for the bye week. That's the other, of course, difference with the mitten. So that I'd just make that point. Excuse me. And yeah, like week 8, Baker, not week 8, or week 7, Baker had another 7 points, another 7 points week 6. So easily would have, like, a Baker, and I know Baker would be highly drafted in this format a year ago, but just for an example, you could have done like Hurts and Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, same thing, 10 more points week 1, and Hurts, 17 more points week 3, 9 points week 4, like that right there. And there, Hurts, Jaden Daniels, absolutely, not even getting to the bye week, absolutely smashes Lamar. So I would keep that in mind. Steve, JSN. So in this, like, JSN to me is a really good floor play. I don't think he's got a massive ceiling. Like, I don't think he's got a lot of spike weeks. So, without a stack or anything, I'm not as high. Like I talked about with Who Games, I think JSN and Cup are how you attack the Seattle passing offense. But I feel like JSN's can be a type with a lot of like 15 to 17 point weeks, not many 25, 30 point games. I'm only used to Wildcat and BR, but same concept, just more roster spots. Yeah, so I know you're pushing JSN. I think he's fine in regular. I'm generally not as high on him just for that reason. But how is Stroke so high on this yet so low in BBN? Boy, I didn't even recognize where Stroud was. I definitely wasn't primarily, he wasn't a top priority for me, because the more rushing floor guy, there's a few like more passing guys like Mahomes, Baker, who I think are fine. Burrow, of course, but I did the thing. I'm happy team sucks though. Like catch up, going through all my pre-draft teams, some are off already. That you never know. I think that my guess is that's why JSN, like some of these receivers, without a massive ceiling, I just don't think they hit as well in this format. Is my take. We get the pound in here saying, how's it going? We did a couple marathons already. Just did our first of the pick 6. Gonna rip another one in a second. Not sure if you've gotten into any of those yet, but they do seem fun. Just trying to figure it out in my head as we go, how to attack them. Shit down my leg at quarterback. Yeah, I think your running backs are good. I think you just don't want to be totally dead at quarterback. And that's why taking a third quarterback was key there. Then week 8, I like the team. Wanted the week 17 Atlanta Rams game. Yeah, that's fair. It is a 225 person final. I definitely wasn't thinking about like week 17 matchups for this. That's why I went 3 low on quarterbacks. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Brett, have you kicked Josh and yeah, I'm sure those employee drafts are pretty fun over an Underdog. Got to go for now. Good stuff, Steve. Good luck to everyone. Thanks, Binking. Appreciate you joining us. Bowers, McBride, same buy. Yeah. Granted, since they're going with receivers, you have a couple receivers that are different buy. I think you could take both in this format since they're in the same pool. I might be in on Saquon week 1 for DFS. I haven't done all my research, but he smashed them week 17 last year. Yeah, no, that is fair. Paperware, I hear you, but 25% 2 quarterback or 50% 3 quarterback at your bench, locked up a quarterback, don't love it. Yeah, I generally won't do 3 quarterback. I think most of the time it's 2 quarterback because I'm trying to get a quarterback through Burrow. I think it's in those rare times where I don't get one of those 5. Even sometimes with Burrow, I might go 3. I agree. You're risking bench spots, and appreciate you, Paperware. It's like I do think the bye week matters quite a bit. So I think 2, just thinking it through, just looking at it, for as great as Lamar was last year, I think even if you're 100% right and Lamar's the number 1 quarterback, I think if you go 1 quarterback, you're going to be behind at the quarterback position. And instead of being quarterback 1 with Lamar, just because you lost those bye week points in the other combos, like you legit might be quarterback 4, 5, or 6. Just my thought. So I will try and enter the next one. And yeah, the time thing is going to be tough. These things are ripping. I will enter at 10:37 Eastern. So hopefully any second now. I will try and get in as quick as possible to get anyone in with me who wants to be in. We are entering now. Doing our second pick 6. Let's see how it goes. I like the first one. I do think the runes will start to get sharper, is what I imagine. Because I imagine some people get into some rooms. I mean, with half this draft being in chat, my strategy. You know what I'm thinking. So let's see. We got FK Coolers in this. We got Boston George in this. We got Gerard. DFS, not sure if I've seen him in chat, but he's always in different streams and ripping drafts, so it should be a good one. I'm in the 4 spot. I think I will generally be taking Chase or running back in the top 4. I don't know if I'm taking Lamb over any of those 3 running backs. I think I'd even move McCaffrey here. I just think as we see receivers are deep. I didn't take a receiver till what? Pick 6 last time? Or something like that. And I felt very good about my receiver room. So it is starting in a second. Polino's in at 2. Heavy hitter. Okay. I don't know why I thought your name was something else, but appreciate you, Paulino, for jumping in. Gerard, good seeing you as well. That should be a good one. So FK going Gibbs 101. I will take Saquon again. I'm not going to max. So if you guys keep giving me Saquon, I will probably pull somebody else up at some point. But yeah, I really like Saquon. Good seeing you, Gerardo. Appreciate everyone joining me for these drafts, joining the chat. We've got some good knowledge from Brett stopping by, talking about UD new tournament. Keep in mind the marathon promo that's going on. I'll probably do at least one more of these after this as well, since these go so quick. But just wanted to say thank you for everyone for being in chat, talking ball. Been in a lot of good conversation, a lot of good topics, teams we talked about, situations we talked about, different build structures. So always enjoy it. Henry, get the pull up. I like that. I think that's a good pull up. We know his upside. Gerard taking my McCaffrey. I get it. I can't disagree with it. I am going to go Neighbors over Puka. Just the Stafford situation. Neighbors is back at practice today. Neighbors, I think Neighbors has wide receiver 1 upside. So Barkley Neighbors, pretty good start. But, this is the thing. Everyone's going to have good starts. Like, I don't think there's a bad start. Um, like FK gain Achan and Nico at the turn. I will take Josh Allen this time. Again, I really think elite quarterback is super powerful in this and worth ensuring that you get one. There's ways around it. And the tough thing with Burrow is he's the one you do feel you kind of have to stack. Like Burrow with either Chase or Higgins is fine, but just taking Burrow to take Burrow is not as fun. And other guys, like I only took Mahomes because I had Worthy. Would have taken like Baker with Evans, but the top 4 quarterbacks, you don't even need a stack with them. I mean, if you get a stack, great, but definitely, if you get like AJ Brown with Hurts, yeah, totally. So coming up here, Yogi here, he takes Bucky Jaden. It's nice. Then we got Gerard coming back. Then I'm on the clock. He goes BTJ. It's a nice pick. I will go Jonathan Taylor. I was essentially going to go whoever he didn't take there, JT or BTJ. So I also like getting different build this time. I had Barkley last time, get JT. I do think JT is a big beneficiary. We talked about earlier of the Daniel Jones move. The AR didn't throw to his backs a lot, killed a lot of drives, and then even his 60-yard touchdowns, those weren't benefiting Taylor at all. Daniel Jones more, 8, 10, 12 play drives. That's going to benefit Taylor quite a bit. Jacobs and Hendo go. I mean, I will take T. Higgins. I'm never gonna not be in on T. Higgins, especially when I don't already have a week 10 bye. So I feel like 2 running backs who can be top 3, 2 receivers who can be top 3 or 5. So good start, of course. Allen who can be quarterback 1. All right. Mike Evans, I easily would have been on the short list. I'm taking Evans over Tyreek, over Kittle, over McBride, I think is kind of right around the point where you can start to think of it. Either way, let's see what Gerard does. He takes Maureen Hampton. I'm going to take Joe Burrow here. I got Higgins. I got the stack. Got 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks. Likely I'm winning the quarterback points in this room. That's my hope. No guarantee, but feel good about that with only stopping at 2. All right, coming back up. Boston, yeah, you taking Jaden? No. That's a nice room. Bijan, Chase, Hendo, London, Monroe, McLaurin. Nice balance with the buys and everything. So there are some guys who I'm just going to be. I probably will not take Tyreek Hill in this contest. It's only going to be open a couple days. It just doesn't sound too great. He's got the upside. FK just takes him. I don't know. I worry. I just think there's enough other receivers who can do similar things, but Some other guys like we talked about earlier, I'm just lower on Garrett Wilson, so tough for me to take him in this kind of format. JSN. We're going to pull up Kenneth Walker here. If what we believe that Seattle rushing game is elite, Walker could be just an ultimate smash. And third, 3 different buys at running back. Could stop at 3. Probably will still tack on a 4th. Definitely doing 2 quarterbacks, Neighbors and Higgins. I mean, most weeks those should be my 2 receivers. Obviously, went 2 other ones. Could go with the Worthy well again. There's a few different guys here that I think are worth taking shots on. And I'm going to go Devontae Adams. Like, the Stafford stuff definitely scares me some, but Devontae Adams is still Devontae Adams. This guy finishes as a top, 12 receiver every year. Doesn't matter whose quarterback is, even Jimmy Garoppolo. So, even if it's Jimmy Garoppolo again for the Rams, I think Adams can still have a year that really pays off. So I think generally, like when we talk about scrolling down, I will generally do it at receiver, just because not only do you have your receivers, but you have tight ends who aren't going to be nearly as like a Mark Andrews. You could make a case will have enough spike weeks. I think it's a little thinner when you get to like the Mark Andrews point of tight ends, but I mean, we still have Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, these receivers on the clock. So if you scroll down and get, Travis Hunter or Keon Coleman is probably a little bit of a stretch for me, but I think you can. My point is, I would rather scroll down at receiver than running back. Obviously, there's a few running backs you could take. If you believe in Caleb Johnson or Pacheco, I think is a good pick. Let's see, I have 9, 11, 8. I'm going to go Tony Pollard. I consider Pacheco, but I really like the Titans' offensive line. I like their offense. I think Pollard could be a smash. I like having 4 different buys here. We'll always have 3 backs available to cover the flex. I didn't have that last one. And I will say I'm a huge Alvin Kamara fan. I considered it even with the JT same buy. Yeah, I don't know why Keon Coleman, boy, these ADPs have changed. I don't know why Keon Coleman is ahead of some of these receivers, but I will not be taking them. I will promise you that. Yeah. I'm gonna take Ricky Pearsall, same by his neighbors, but that week I'll have Higgins and Devontae Adams to fill in. And all my running backs cover for the flex. So this is what I mean about scrolling down. Like there's some options here. It starts to get thin at this point. You can still make a case here or there for like Hawkinson, Shaheed, Pittman, Chris Godwin, if you feel you can risk a couple weeks. But look at the guys who don't get drafted. I mean, FK taking Kamara at 10th round, that's an absolute smash. Cortland Sutton not getting drafted, that is crazy. Travis Hunter not getting drafted. DK Metcalf. You can make a case for like Waddle, Olave. I really consider Deebo Samuel. I think he could have plenty of spike weeks. And of course, I took a Dunze last time. So yeah, different team for sure. Similar build, 2-4-4, but this time went like kind of double elite quarterback and still love the roster. So I think I think what was it? Hulk Smash talked about somebody else went 2 quarterback. I think it's very viable. I wouldn't do, Lamar and Allen, obviously, but I think double tapping elite quarterback, if we count Burrow as an elite, like 2 of the 5. One, it puts strain on a couple other teams, and I feel very confident about my ability to win the quarterback position. My running backs are very strong. Receivers, Neighbors, Higgins, Devontae Adams, Ricky Pearsall. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. FK, he tries the 1-4-5. Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon A. Chan, Chuba Hubbard, Alvin Kamara, Nico, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Trey McBride, Devonta Smith. We got Paulino, heavy hitter, Lamar Purdy. So that is nice combo there. Purdy, top 10 to guy, so very viable in this. Ashton Genty, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, RJ Harvey, takes one very early and then kind of just takes him as he goes. Still is a very strong room, 4 different buys, like that a lot. Receivers, so he grabs Kittle, that's a nice value on Kittle. I think that's kind of where you should go, like the late 30s, early 40s. Jamar Chase and McConkey, like holding it down for the receiver, and then George Kittle. And that's the thing with Kittle. Like his big thing is spike weeks. Like he's not generally as consistent of a tight end, but he'll have these 25, 30-point games. So he'll have the 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns before Marvin Harrison. And so nice last round pick for a guy who goes in the top 3 rounds in regular. So yeah, good team there. And then Boston George in here, Baker and May. That's about as light for 2 quarterbacks, but I like that. I mean, I really like Baker and I really like May, so I don't really have an argument there. Bijan, Chase, Henderson, 3 different buys could be very, very viable if Hendo can have the upside that we see. And of course, Bijan and Chase Brown holding down the fort. London, Amon-Ra, Terry McLaurin, Steph Diggs, and Mbuka, so stacking late. Yeah, I do like the Mbuka pick late. I think that's a very strong pick. So that was everyone from chat. Yeah, let me catch up on chat. What is the marathon promo? So Eddie, any marathons you do today or tomorrow, from yesterday or from today, sorry, morning of today through tomorrow at midnight. If you do 5 of them, you get $15 DK dollars, not DK dollars, sorry, Underdog dollars back. It will pay out in a couple of days. I want to say on Friday, maybe Saturday. And you can do it up to twice. So if you do 10, that's $150, but you get $30 back. So however you want to look at it, each draft costs you $12. You buy 10, get 2 free. Obviously you don't have to use those $30 on Marathon. You can then use it on this tournament. But that is the promo, and it can be slow or fast. I've got Disbanded in here, not with the dot, but with the 100. So I hope you're doing well, Disbanded. I've been ripping marathons, now doing these pick sixes, and they're fun. Yeah, so Eddie was on Twitter. Maybe there was an email also. I can't remember. We got our guy Chad Candles in here saying Smash Leg has been grinding all night. That is very true, both on stream and in drafts. I have low exposure to Hill overall, but we'll use him in this contest. So that is a way. I talked about this with Huhames and some others. Is like, I know like BBG, best ball guy. He is kind of out on McCaffrey for like BBM, but he took McCaffrey in a ton of like eliminators and even some sprints, I think. So that's like his way to hedge on McCaffrey. FK less punch scene, 1/6 player picked. What do you think about my first team? Wait, that's right. You were in here as well. Totally sorry. I forgot you were in here, Gerardo. I will talk about it. 2-4-4. So yeah, I love the 2-4-4 build. I think that'll be my normal build. I think Dak and Lawrence for waiting on quarterback. That's pretty strong. We know Dak has top 5 upside. Lawrence is, ideally we see this breakout finally with Liam Cohen. Generally, I probably would tack on a third quarterback just because, you are competing with everyone's quarterback room, and it gets very tough. But look, if Dak ends up what he did 2 years ago and Lawrence is like what Baker was last year, you're fine. So, if you have that outcome, that totally works. I think being strong at running back is very good. So McCaffrey, Hampton, Kyron, and Hall, good, all different buys. I think these will hit the flex most weeks. So I think that's very strong. And then Lamb, Puka, Brian Thomas, Brock Bauer. So what I will say is, unfortunately, the real one downside here is you're taking a 0 week 8. You're only having Lamb at receiver / tight end. So that, I don't know if you realized you did that at the time, but that is going to make it tough. Even if you're totally right on those quarterbacks, you're not taking a 0 one of these weeks. And this is not like a 0 in regular best ball, because even in a situation where, even at the receiver position, if, like how I normally build 3-5-7-3, and for whatever reason, between injuries and buys, I have 2 receivers on buy. I have 2 other receivers, 2 other receivers are injured, and then 1 receiver goes down early, and I take a stone 0 at receiver 1 week in regular best ball. That's okay, because one, likely that's, your third receiver you're hoping is counting about 10 points a week. So you're losing 10 points, but here everyone has elite receivers. So everyone's second receiver, which is what it's costing you that week, is going to be averaging like 15, 16 points a game. So it's costing you more. And it's not a spread out. Like maybe in a regular contest, I'm making up for it because my running backs, flex, quarterback, and tight end can really make up for it. So it doesn't hurt me as bad. Here, I would never try and put myself at the position to take a 0 at one of these positions in a given week. So that would be the real caveat. I mean, quarterback, you're fine going 2. I think you could have gone 3, but 2 is absolutely fine. But in that case, I just wouldn't not want the 0 at wide receiver that week. Yeah, FK, I do think that's why Coleman gets pushed up in this, but it's interesting to see. And okay, so notice that bye weeks are definitely a factor since Josh is drafted. Yeah, for me, I don't think I'm doing 50 of these, but let's say I had Allen 15 times. That's very bullish, but let's say I took Allen 15 times. I don't know if I'd take Coleman more than 1 time, to be honest. Like, there's just so many other receivers. Sure, maybe he's got the right spike week at the right time. I just don't think it matters. Like, total points, total upside potential matters to me way more than having the right stack. Luckily, 49 more to go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Floor profiles with spike week guys. Yeah. I think, there are some. Let me just look at your team again real quick. Running back, I think you're very strong, and receiver. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like Chase and McConkey, the floor and spike week upside. We know they both have. But yeah, Kittle and Harrison can just fill in. And more honestly, it's just like helping cover those bye weeks. And also helping cover flex, though with 4 different running backs, different buys, you'll always have 3. So I think most times your flex will come from the running back would be my guess. But yeah, just an extra option those weeks. So I'm going to do one more of these. These have been fun. I don't know how many total I will end up doing. There's just so much out there, and we know Underdog's going to be releasing more these next couple of days. But at 11:01, I will enter my next one. So sorry, I know it's tough to time these, but I appreciate those being able to get in. We'll try and do one more of these. And I'll probably enter a few slows. Like I said, it'll be nice. The slows will go pretty quick, kind of similar to the rookie sophomore. I don't think I'll get 50 down, but I think it is a new format. People are learning. I'm learning. You know, I'm my take on what I think is right. Not sure if it's 100% right or not. All right. So 11:01, we will be entering. And must have just clicked over to 11 when I first said that. There we go, 11:01. Might have had some people jump the gun early, so sorry if you got into the lobby before me. But it is now filled. I'm guessing a few of you got into this one. So Shoelaces was in a draft earlier. So Gerard's the only one I recognize. Shoelaces, if you're in here, love to you to say hi. No biggie. I mean, I'm not worried if you're sniping or not. Like, you probably know where I'm going. I'm very open and honest with how I draft. Sabotage. Sorry about that, FK. Yeah, I definitely, for me, it was more like 11:01 and 15 seconds. So I think I probably got you guys to jump the gun a little early. Good luck in anyone in the pre-flow draft. But I will say, I think this mini best ball is fun. I can't imagine like it's going to replace regular best ball. I don't think that would be ideal. I think it's a lot of fun, and you can make some unique combos. Like, you don't have to go too far down to get crazy. This one's already started. I'm in the fifth spot again. Been in fourth or fifth every time. I mean, am I going to get Barkley again? Okay, I don't. I'm going to pull up CMC. I do think structurally running back is a little better than receiver. Chase is like the only one I'm taking in, like, probably the top 5. I think Lamb would probably be my 6. So yeah, I mean, Lamb Jefferson, that's a fun start by Gerard. I'm going to pull up Henry again. Look, just more certainty over a chain and Genty. And I mean, a chain with his injury situation, I think he should fall. Clearly his ADP. We're seeing him fall in regular drafts. Why would he not fall in this draft? Probably a lot of times you'll see me start. Now, again, I like the Liam Jefferson start, but probably a lot of times you'll see my first 2 picks either be 2 running backs or running back receiver. Maybe if I have that where Gerard is, that Liam Jefferson will be too good to pass up. But that's about, I think, the only wide receiver start I'd do. We're going to come back and hit Nico here. I think Nico, to me, he's 8th player on my board, right behind McCaffrey. And this is a little different. Obviously, I pulled Henry up above him for a reason. But I like getting Nico back, and that feels really good. I will take Lamar. Eventually, I'll get some Jaden, but I just don't know if I'm taking Jaden over Lamar. Lamar's just so good. And it is the Lamar Henry again, like it did in the first draft. But this is one of the best offenses in the league. I don't think that's a bad call. So I start 1-2-1. Feel really good about it. Might try to mix up some of the running backs and receivers, but I mean, you can obviously only do that so much. Let's see what gets back to us. It's tough because there's obviously certain guys I like considerably more than other ones. All right, coming back up. I mean, you guys are just tempting me with Higgins every single time. Oh my goodness. I will go Lad though. If this team does get to the finals, then I even got a built-in Houston Chargers stack. So Gerard double tapping. Oh my gosh, Gerard, you're killing me. I gotta go Higgins. I mean, how can I pass up Higgins on this build? No, I mean, I get it. Gerard went receivers early, grabs double running back tap there, Kyron and Cook. If he had taken Higgins, I probably would have taken Cook, even though it's the same buy as Henry. I love James Cook. Access to one of the top offenses in the league, I think, is always the right call. I mean, this is the type of build I'd consider only doing 3 wide receivers because, I mean, Nico, Ladd, Higgins, oh my gosh. That feels very strong. But at the same time, I have an elite quarterback, so probably only doing two top tier running backs. So I like where I'm at. For sure. So we will see what gets back to us. Don't need a running back or receiver here. Probably more running back. I can wait on a receiver. Maybe a quarterback. Kyler would be a nice pairing. Maybe get a stack, but again, I don't think stack's the most important thing. We'll go Kenneth Walker again, though. I think that's a good pick. So coming up into let's see what Gerard does. He goes Dak. That I like that. I'm going to go Kamara. Didn't take him last time. He maybe would fall back to the 9th round. But 4 running backs, 4 different buys. Again, the upside potential, the spike week potential is just massive, not just to fill RB1 and 2, but that flex position, Walker and Kamara battling for that every week feels really good. And, I'll probably take a 4th receiver, but I could talk myself into a 5th back to really, just because a back here is going to project higher than most receivers. Not all the time, but would be an interesting strategy. I don't know how many times I'll do that, like a 2-5-3. I mean, this is the time to do it with 3 elite receivers, different buys. These 3 guys should carry my 2 positions every game. Obviously, you risk injury, but other than that, it's pretty strong. So a few combos here that look really good. It might not even scroll down this time, which will make this more of a potential dupe team. But scrolling down, Pickens could be a spike week guy. Obviously, Adams, Harrison, need a quarterback. Kyler's there. We're going to go Drake May. I love him in all formats. Consider Kyler for sure, because probably can get Harrison. If I get Diggs, I will take Diggs. If not, no harm, no foul. Just works out perfectly. All different buys. I'm going to have so many options for the flex every single week, both at running back and receiver. And of course, Lamar May feels really, really good. And if Gerard takes Diggs, I will be quite all right with like Devontae Adams or Devonta Smith or Ridley or Sutton. I think those are all strong picks. So he lets him come back to me. And I will take Diggs. And yeah, I mean, this is Sutton. Sutton shocks me that he's not drafted. He ended the year, I think, wide receiver 14, 15, somewhere in that ballpark. And from week 9 on, he was like wide receiver 9. So I generally think he should be drafted. I generally think if Nix is being drafted, he should be drafted. But I don't know if Nix was drafted. Yeah, Nix wasn't drafted in this, unless Kristaps takes him. So yeah, like RJ Harvey, James Conner not drafted. Tyron Tracy, I think that's the right call. Pacheco is one who probably should be drafted some. Just access to the kind of clear RB1 of the top tier offense. I'll review your team in a second, Gerard. Nonsense media saying you and FK got in early. Yeah, no, sorry, it's tough with these small things. It's the same thing with like batch rows or rookie sophomores. Those are much tougher to get a fun friends and family draft going. So my team, just rehashing it: Lamar May, McCaffrey, Henry, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins, Vlad McConkey, T. Higgins, and my quote-unquote scroll-down option of Steph Diggs. And yeah, I doubt Diggs is drafted every time, anywhere near every time. So I mean, it's good. Absolutely wild to me that Devontae Adams. I mean, this guy, I know he's fallen some, but boy, he was going, near the turn, the 2-3 turn for a bit there. And even with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think he's should be picked in this. I mean, you think there's 6 teams, roughly 4 receivers / tight ends per team. That's 24. He's, to me, even if you're adding in a couple early tight ends, he's easily one of the top 24 guys. So that's my take. Let me look at Gerard. 2-3-5. Very strong quarterback. Allen, Prescott, Kyron, Cook, Chuba. So yeah, 3 running backs, 3 different buys, 3 clear workhorse guys, starters. Then Lamb, Jefferson. Like I said, he double tapped receiver at the turn there, and those would be the 2 guys I would take in that early. Puka, I mean, his receivers, he essentially has 3 first-round receivers and a 3rd and a 4th, 5th round guy. I think it's good. Let's see. The only overlap is 2 week 8 buys there, and you've 1 at your running back. So week 8, and you're more than fine. You have two running backs to cover those positions, and then 3 receivers to cover the 2 receivers positions and the flex. So yeah, not taking a 0. That is absolutely key. Making sure that is the case. And no, I think it's a strong team. I think it's well built. So I like it. Baker, Herbert, Stafford, Bijan, Bucky, Kyron, Neighbors, BTJ, Ladd, G5. Wait, is that who's G5? Why can I not think? It's not Garrett Wilson, right? Who's that last pick nonsense? Sorry. Not sure. I may never take Chase 101. Oh, I see. Yeah. Garrett Wilson. Okay. No, strong, very strong team. Yeah, I tend to agree. Like, I don't know if I'd take Chase 1. Like, if I had the 101, I think I'm taking Bijan or Barkley or Gibbs. Yeah, if I had 2, 3, 4, and if I have 3 and it goes 2 running backs for me, I think I'd take Chase. But yeah, I don't think he's definitely not the clear 101 to me. No, I think running back thins out. Running back also. The other issue is so many starting running backs have same, week 8 especially. Look at their running backs on week 8. Walker, Connor, Kyron Williams, Genty. It's very. We're not really taking Jags running backs in this, and then there's the 16 on week 8. Oh, Detroit, Gibbs, and Monty. So, week 8, it can be really tough and really thin. Even week 7, there's only 2 teams on bye, and it's freaking James Cook and Derrick Henry. I took them in the first one together, but that's where I had to have 4 running backs. So no, I think it is very much a running back contest. Your running back, if you're drafting like this, or with 4 good ones, you're going to hit the flex as many times as possible. That's how you advance out of 1 of 6. And then in the 1 of 5s, you have 3 or 4 top running backs to cover those positions. Yeah, I think I'm going to be drafting a very running back heavy. So, boy, I'm tempted to do one more. Hit me up. Let me know in chat if you want me to do one more. I'll do one more. You guys got me addicted. I know it's tough. Might not be able to join in. But if you want me to do one more, I will do one more. So I got to give you guys a second. Hartman's, we don't have I'm your Huckleberry in here, but Hartman's my Huckleberry. I know he'd push me to do one more. So I will be jumping in. Hartman, are you doing these drafts? Interested in your take. I know you do a lot of different formats and enjoy that. So I want to hear your take on this. I will be entering one at 11:18 p.m. Eastern time. And I will try to be Johnny on the spot with this. So let me know in chat how you're approaching this, Hartman. If you think my strategy takes are right. If you're doing the contest, just your thoughts. Always love hearing those. So 11:18, we will be jumping in. All right, I am in. And it filled. So hopefully a couple of you got in here with me. And Hartman got in here. And we got our guy Gerard back in here. We got Blue Blood UNC. That is, oh man, I know he's in chat, or he'll be in chat. Definitely let me know your name again. Remind me. I will recognize it basically as soon as you post. Sorry, Evgeny. Yeah, I will probably be doing some more of these off stream as well. Haven't tried it yet. Actually, definitely interested. I think I view it close to the same as you. Yeah, nice. Peanut Punch. Appreciate a live look at a new format. Always. Yeah. No, I enjoy talking about new formats. I really appreciate Brett coming in from Underdog. Yes, Philip. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us and asking for feedback. So he wants to hear. So let me know. I'll be hitting him up, letting him know my thoughts. I'll be happy to pass on anything you guys say as well. So feel free after the stream to drop a comment. I know a lot of times they will look at those as well. So if you like this format particularly or have any tips, I went Bijan this time. I've already taken Saquon a couple times. Definitely drop it in chat either now or after the stream. Put a comment that helps us out, and I think that helps Underdog out. Nice, Philip. This is, geez, I've lost track. This is my 4th, right? Yeah, that's my 4th. not good. I've been on stream and drafting all day. Boy. So Bijan, so now to be wary of other week 5 buys. Gonna keep doing it. Derrick Henry. I mean, to me, he's too good, especially for this format. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Just such an elite offense. I think he's the #1 touchdown guy in this offense. He probably will have the most total yards. He's not going to have a lot of catches, but his point potential is massive. Like, you could have shaved off 2 points from his points per game last year. He still crushes just about every receiver in the league, not named Chase. Yeah, I just see him getting a big workload again. I mean, this team's contending. This team is competitive division. This is an interesting call. So Lamar goes early. So I won't do the Lamar Henry again. Done that the other 2 times, so at least I'll be different here. Gerard takes Allen. You know what? I will. Yeah, I'm going to take JT. I'm gonna just try and win the flex. Like, quarterback, I consider pulling up Daniels. I'm sure I'm not getting Daniels back to me. I have every faith in that. That won't be happening, but this running back start of Bijan, Henry, Jonathan Taylor could start at 3. We'll still probably tack on a 4th just because I like being able to always have as many times as possible 3 options for the flex. But I can wait. I can definitely wait at running back at this point. So I'll be looking quarterback and wide receiver. So Daniels and Hurts goes. That's kind of what I figured. Like, I did not think I'd get either one of them back. So we got Puka, Monra, BTJ, Plaid. Ooh, this is tough. All right, BTJ going. I'm going to take Higgins. And if he comes back to me, I'll probably take Burrow. If not, then that means I'll probably get another receiver I really like, is the way I look at it. Sure, I think in a vacuum, Amon-Ra, Ladd are better, but setting up a stack with probably the fifth Beetle, the 5th elite quarterback, I think it's probably worth it. Won't always work, but that was kind of the bet that I was making by taking Jonathan Taylor and knowing that I'm not getting one of the 4 rushing elite quarterbacks. So I will take Burrow because I don't know. I really don't want to do 3 quarterbacks too often. I feel once you get past Burrow, then not that you have to go 3 quarterbacks, but I just feel I'm going to be behind a quarterback at that point. So we are now at 131. Maybe would stop it. And this would be the situation where had I not gotten Burrow, maybe I do only stop at 3 running backs and take a 3rd quarterback, do a 3 quarterback build. Again, like FK said, this is a running back draft. I think you want to be strong at running back. We see pretty much everyone else hitting up multiple running backs early. I mean, there's still plenty of RB talent out there, but just worth thinking about. So we see the tight ends falling some. I think they should. That makes sense. We will go Mike Evans. Okay. Wasn't sure that would take. So Higgins, Evans, pretty good wide receiver start. No running back. I think another receiver makes the most sense. So wild because honestly, Adams would probably be my pick, but I just don't go undrafted in the last one. Um, I don't think I'm taking Tyreek. Kittle, McBride. I like the Ken Walker pick there. I think that's very solid. Don't think I want to go Worthy. Yeah, I mean, maybe he would have gone undrafted again, or maybe I could wait till the 10th round, but I think Devontae Adams is just an absolute smash. Don't see this too often, but so far none of my skill guys haven't even an overlapping buy. So always going to have flex options. That's nice to know. Because yeah, that's like if you are doing the 2-4-4, you can't have like, you know, two receivers, two running backs, all like say all week 8 or all week 14 or something like that, because then you won't have a flex option. You got to keep that in mind. So coming up here, Hartman goes Tony Pollard and Kamara. Ooh, that is, 1-4-3. I like that. Achane, Jacobs, Pollard, Kamara. That's strong. Oh, so, I didn't even notice these are 30-second clocks. I did not notice that earlier. I think I'm going to go James Conner. Harvey also could have made some sense, but I'll go James Conner. So yeah, 30-second clocks. I did not realize that, which I guess makes sense. These are 6 people drafts. It's already going to go fast enough. These are flown through. And yeah, I think I'm going to go quarterback and receiver with these last 2 picks. And I'll hit back chat. I know there's some comments there, but we'll just wait. I'm going to go Baker. I mean, Baker Burrow feels good. I mean, it's kind of a flat tier at quarterback, so would have been happy with any number of options. And so, honestly, like I could make this pick I mean, I already have 2 week 8 buys, so I'll try and avoid week 8. But any other week, I mean, JMO would be very tempting, though. Diggs, Ridley, Sutton, DK, Debo, Batunze, Golden. Think of any, say any injured or suspended guys. I think Addison's the one I would still consider. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go Sutton over Ridley. I think the offense is better. His touchdown upside is huge. And, I actually don't have any week 12 buys. So it would even, in terms of like as many players for my flex, particularly, very spread out. So I like that. I do think there's some edge there. And after this pick, I will look at the teams in chat, and then I will look at chat, and we will get on out of here. So Stroud goes with the final round. And yeah, just I mean, geez, this is what's so wild about this. Kyler Murray, Bo Nix, I think is very draftable. Dak Prescott, we've seen him in the last couple drafts. I think you can make a case for any of these other guys, particularly like Justin Fields. And I think this is just the problem with Justin Fields is that's more of if you do go through 3 quarterbacks, I would absolutely be trying to get Justin Fields. But Herbert, you could make a case for. That's probably about it. Wild that Stroud goes before Herbert. I'm guessing mainly it's a Nico thing. Harvey, especially, and Pacheco, those are the two that I'd really think should be drafted most times. You could make a little case for Monty or Mason or Caleb, even if you believe he's going to have a touchdown role. You really want to get into the weeds, obviously, like an ETN, situation like that. Receiver, though, JMO, Terry McLaurin, T-Mac. I think I won't really draft. I mean, I'm low in Flowers. I know that, but he's not really a spike week guy. He's got I think last year he had 3 top 10 wide receiver finishes. That's the same number as Rashard Bateman, and Bateman goes considerably lower. He's going to score more total points, but he's just like a wide receiver 3. He's more likely to score outside the top 30 than inside. And if so, it's going to be like wide receiver 27. I don't think he's going to finish wide receiver 17. So in this format, he doesn't make sense. I think Ridley, I think Hunter, you could make a case for DK being wide receiver 1 there, a few others. So, but yeah, that's the format. Not everyone can get drafted. All right, so we'll go Gerard 235. So yeah, just to reiterate my team, Burrow, Mayfield. So didn't get one of the true elites, but still, potentially like 2 top 5, 2 top 6 quarterbacks. Bijan, Henry, JT, Connor, Higgins, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Cortland Sutton. Yeah, I think that's super strong. So we got Gerard here, 235, Allen, Penix. So reaching a little bit for Penix. I think that actually can make sense. I assume London's going to be on this team. And that makes the Allen team very unique. So that can help. And look, Penix, we saw this offense last year. Not so much Penix. I mean, Penix was week 18, but Kirk Cousins, even banged up, he had some massive spike weeks. Gibbs, Brown, Brees Hall, 3 different buys, 3, top backs. London, Puka, Xavier Worthy, George Kittle, Keon Coleman. We talked about this before. I mean, Coleman, he's game pulled up because of the stack. I don't think it's necessarily the wrong call. I think Coleman has some clear spike week upside. I would not always feel the need to like stack up Allen or stack up Lamar. We're not talking about a 12-person draft. We're not even talking about like a Badge Bros where over 100 guys get drafted. Like in Badge Bros, if 6-person drafts with Allen, a lot of times I would, not a lot of times, but I would take Coleman a decent amount of time. Here, I'll sprinkle him in, if I do a lot of these and have Allen teams. But by no means do I think you have to do it. Now, if you want to do it, go for it. I don't think it's wrong. It's just, there's a lot of receivers. Unfortunately, it's one of those things you're reaching down for a receiver that probably won't make you unique because probably almost every time Coleman's drafted, it's by the Allen team. So that would be the one caveat, I'd say. But we had Blue Blood, UNC, Phillip in here, Jaden May, very strong quarterback room, Barkley, Genty, Cook, and then Travion, big time spike week potential to go along with these 3 other backs. That's a very strong running back room. Brock Bowers, Devonta Smith, George Pickens, Steph Diggs. Maybe a little light at the receiver room just because, Bowers, if Bowers needs to do more like what, say, we've seen Kelsey do in the past. If Bowers is tight end 1 this year, essentially what he was last year, just say slightly better. Like that's what, wide receiver 18, so you're paying a little bit high of a cost. I still think Bowers deserves to be drafted in this format because he has the upside to be the tight end that Kelsey was. It's just he won't be a guy I prioritize in this format. But I do like you got him a few spots past ADP. Devontae Smith, spike week. George Pickens, kind of a spike week guy. Diggs can kind of be your floor play. I think it's probably a little thinner at receiver, but probably still okay just because you're going to win the flex mostly through the running back anyway. So you're just using these 4 guys to fill the 2 spots, I think, probably every week. And honestly, I think we could see like a George Pickens breakout year just in the highest passing volume offense, top quarterback with him. Then Hartman in here, 244, Hurts, Purdy, the chain, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Alvin Kamara. Love that RB room. Lamb, AJ Brown, Lad McConkey, Ricky Pearsall. Yeah, I mean, I took Ricky in one of my drafts. The quote unquote scroll down option. This guy could easily be wide receiver 1 for the 49ers. We've seen this as a very high upside fantasy position in the past. And I think the 49ers probably throw the ball the most they have in years. Probably the most under Kyle Shanahan. So yeah, I like that team. So this is gonna be strong. I mean, only one of us can advance. Hopefully it's one of us 4. But yeah, let me hit up chat and we'll talk about it a little bit more and then we'll get on out of here. Got well behind in chat. Pick 5, only second one I've done. Yeah, good seeing you in here, Philip. This contest is like playing my puppy fades. Just started Barkley Henry. Never fade the big dog. I'm with you on that, Hartman. We got William 1 in here. Good evening, fellas. Hope you're doing well, William. Hope you're enjoying your drafts tonight. Who Hames, I agree with the RB draft, although I didn't do it. Respectable. Somehow I missed a few letters there. Too many drafts. I got you. I missed the live with the shades, or however Aaron Sandy got that. Yeah, that was on Bindle with Bindles and Candyman last Monday. Their Ballsy stream. We got our guy Emo Cowboy Tyler in here. Howdy, Steve. It's going well. Been doing drafts all night. Did a couple marathons, then just did 4 of these pick 6s. They're a lot of fun. I'm a fan. Why is Pollard's ADP higher than Kamara? Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I get that. I think Pollard's a good pick. I think people don't want to invest in the Saints, ironically, since the Titans were obviously the worst offense in the league last year. But no, to me, Kamara should be on every draft. Probably Pollard as well. I think he's pretty strong, but a bunch of stuff is off market. Just not a lot of drafts yet. Trying to do a bunch of these before it's more efficient. Agree with that. By the way, that is how the weeklies will be too. No, that's true. And yeah, people. The thing is on the weeklies, like you can make a bet in any case. Like I could say, Rashid Shaheed should be wide receiver 8 this week because he's got some great matchup and whatever. So yeah, in a weekly that makes sense, and it makes even more sense for sure. But yeah, in this, I think you should scroll a little bit, like scrolling for Ricky Pearsall or scrolling for whatever Diggs, a few of these guys. But I don't think you need to scroll too deep. I have a quarterback wide receiver plan. Don't ruin it for me. We got Jim Waller in here. FK Coolers, you're in my Dalmatian slow. Yeah, Jim is a very sharp drafter. If you don't know Jim from Twitter or the YouTube streets, he won. What was it? The Pitbull 2 years ago when it was, or was it the Bull? Was it called the Bulldog then? I think it was $75 tournament, but he won that. Had a great finish that week, or that contest. Interesting format. I definitely feel the RB heavy thing you're saying. I see a lot of 2-4-4 builds with league quarterback incoming if I do volume. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd only do 3 quarterbacks kind of if I'm definitely missing the Burrow window. I think there are some still ways to do 2 quarterback, even if you miss out on Burrow, like, Baker May feels good and a few others, but generally I'll do 2 quarterback if I'm getting one of those top 5. Yeah, I recognize your name. Yep. No, Jim's very sharp. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the tight end being a weaker position on here. No, I mean, it's no worries. And there's outs where it works. I just think my guess is Bowers will fall more to like pick 25-ish. Like already he's falling some. I think Bowers, McBride, and Kittle especially are very draftable in this. Should be in most drafts. But they should go like late 20s, 30s, 40s. I just don't know if the ADPs are efficient, but it can still pay off. Open for a Kelsey season. Yeah, no, that's how it would pay off. I think it is more ADPs can more efficient in this contest. Certain combos come less sustainable. That is true, for sure. Like I think we'll probably see some running backs get pushed up. I think we'll see the quarterbacks pushed up. My guess is in a day or two, the ADPs of all 4 elite quarterbacks could be in the top 20. I wouldn't be surprised, just because I do think there's even tier break between them and Burrow. And then I just think people are going to start grabbing them like in the 3rd, 4th round almost all the time. So thank you guys for joining me for all these drafts, all the talk. I will be getting on out of here in a second. Just want to remind everyone again, tomorrow we have Best Ball Jeopardy. It is going to be Candyman versus Off the Schneid. Beforehand, Andrew and I believe we're going on a date, doing some drafts. Might do 1 or 2 of these. I wouldn't be surprised. Then on Thursday, Meg and I are doing Sibling Showdown, of course. Friday, I will be doing some drafts. Meg won't be able to do Friends of Best Ball again, so I'll be doing some stuff. Not sure when yet. Maybe I'll get some guests. I'll figure it out. But I will be absolutely in the draft streets, both fast and slow, these next couple of days. So looking forward to it. And also keep in mind that marathon promo you have through tomorrow night to get them all done. And hope everyone has a great night and a lot of fun drafting. I will catch you next time.